All right, welcome to Movie Madness Live. Movie Madness and Entertainment Live. Is the boycott real? Am I back to boycotting? I thought long and hard about it. I think I might. I think I am. I think I'm gonna drive home an official boycott after the Snyder Cut has its window on HBO Max. When Snyder goes, I go. The reason is not what you think. I do still support Ray Fisher. I think he's made some mistakes recently. I think it's at the detriment of the it's not his fault, but we're in a situation now where it's causing problems, and it's not his fault again, but it's causing problems for the future of the Justice League and the Snyderverse in the DCEU. And I'm going to say this to my boy Hamada, checkmate, bitch. I'm sorry. I'm sick of denying what you have. I'm sick of it. And I'll listen, by saying I'm officially starting a boycott, I am not going to likely, not that I wouldn't anyway, get those exclusive interviews that some other channels will make. I don't care. I probably wouldn't get them anyway. That's how hard I'm going to take it to Hamada. I'm going to highlight the petition to get him removed. And the reason is it all comes down to story. Brian's known me for a long time. When I thought that the decisions that were being made for Star Wars were not in the best interest for the story, quality was declining.
Yep.
Wonder Woman 84 was a shit show. Yeah. I'm sorry. It was
at the end of the day, it was
an absolute mess. And when they removed George Lucas and he had a story and an outline, debate on whether that was good or not. Snyder knows what he could take it. We know where the Justice League could go. They still haven't learned shit. They still do not know what they're doing. They're taking all the positive movement from the fandom for granted. Yeah. And it's still like, oh, we're not going that way, but which way are you going? Well, and Matt Jarbo was right. They're going to use the Flashpoint as a Band-Aid. I also am worried about Ben Affleck. I don't want to get into his personal life, but he had another breakup. And some of the images I saw him with Dunkin' Donuts, he looked rough. We're in the exact same spot we were years ago, and I'm frustrated. And I am one, just so you guys know, when I say boycott, I'm serious. I buy everything. I subscribe to everything. I am a consumer. Hamada, I am putting a vote of no confidence in Hamada just based on their direction in squashing all the positive. Because here's my theory. I think a lot of these, the cultured nerd, light cast and all that, I think there were talks on where we could go and everything. And then I think that Hamada and his crew have been squashing it every chance they can.
Yeah.
And the other reason I'm boycotting is just for Autumn Snyder and Zach. That's why I'm boycotting. Not for Ray Fisher, because it's the same old bullshit. How can you throw shade at a project? They should be inviting him on to DC Fandom and say, we're so happy, Zach. Hamada should have had a panel with Zach, not Jeff Johns, on DC Fandom. Saying, we're so happy that you could complete your vision, Zach. He's doing all the groundwork. The fans are doing all the groundwork. Even Grace Randolph's doing all the groundwork, creating positive buzz, and they're squandering all that buzz. So, in the past, I said I might buy 2 HBO Maxes to support the Snyder Cut. What I think I'll do is I'll just keep the one. I will watch it as much as I can in the 30-day window, because that 30-day window. And then when it goes, I go, and I'm buying as many copies of the Snyder Cut on physical media, because I have news that they are releasing physical media, and then I'm out. Yeah. If they say something, Zach's getting movement on a project, I might come back. Yeah. But I'm following Zach. Zach.
I'm right there with you. I mean, it's not necessarily a boycott in a sense. It's just it is, but I'm going to change the definition. Okay, I have no interest in seeing anything that he's behind.
It's just because there's still no plan. There's just all these announcements of projects. Saggy, hey Saggy.
Yeah, how's it going?
So I'm late. I just got a new game and I was streaming a little bit and I was trying to finish
what new game?
Well, it's not new. It's Scott Pilgrim vs. the World.
I've been playing that too.
Yeah, I saw it on the store on PlayStation. I was like, I remember playing the crap out of this. I gotta get it again. So I was just doing a little streaming, and I was like, oh crap! It's like
I gotta tell you the secret how to make it easier on yourself.
No, I don't want to make it easier on myself. I want it to be hard and challenging.
Well, it'll still be challenging, but here's Matt Jarbo. Hey Matt.
Hey.
I changed my mind.
About what?
Boycott. You know how I go if I do boycott, I actually keep my word, and how I am a consumer, I buy everything. I have so many steelbooks and Blu-rays.
Yes.
And the Snyder Cut because here's my theory, Matt. I think a lot of these rumors were, Snyder's going to get to do future projects. Ben Affleck's back. I think a lot of that was negotiating, and I think Hamada and his crew have been shutting it down every chance they can, and they still don't know what they're doing. And I feel disrespected for Zach after what happened with Autumn and how they cannot be positive about this project. So that's why without respect, you reject. I like that saying. I hate the guy that came up with it on YouTube. But I'm serious of the lack of respect for Zach, and I'm just out because it feels like they didn't Hamada have a panel with Jeff Johns and DC Fandom. Why can't they say we're happy that Zach gets to complete his vision and leave it? You just leave it at that, even if they have no plans. It's just the lack of respect of this interviews he's giving. I can't go along with it anymore. And it's like the George Lucas, even though some may say George Lucas' plan for the sequels might have been bad too. Zach actually has a plan. It still seems like they don't know what they're doing. And Flashpoint is a Band-Aid. It's not a natural story progression. What are your thoughts, Matt?
I get it, dude. I get it. Sorry. We're training my daughter to like sleep in a bed and not a crib.
Okay.
So she's like, if you hear screaming, it's not that I have children that I'm torturing. It's literally.
Andy's here. Okay, yeah, I was going to comment on that too. I don't know. I don't win a confrontation tonight, Andy. So if
send him a link. Send him a link.
I don't know.
Send him a link.
All right. I was gonna, but I don't care. I don't know.
And this is gonna go thug. We gotta get our cakes and pants on real quick.
Saggy Melons wanted to meet Andy. She genuinely wanted to meet Andy.
Why? Women don't have good luck meeting Andy Signor. We've learned this over the years.
All right, Matt. Let's bring the temperature down.
What? Am I wrong? I mean, am I wrong? He's
probably in the chat because I retweeted.
That's if it's really him. I have no idea if it's really him or not because
that's true. That's true.
It's not hard to fake it. It's not hard to fake it.
Okay, but the reason
it's not a low blow, Nicotina. It's not a low blow.
No,
it's like here's the thing. If he wants to talk, he can call me. He's got the number.
I don't want a big blowout tonight. I'm not in, but I will send the link to him just in case it is him because I do think he had a valid point.
I don't know what his point was. I don't know what his point was. I don't think
to get to it, Matt.
I don't think much about Andy at all.
No. It's
like I just don't. It's so funny.
Even though I am, I totally disagree with Hamada's the way he's handling things.
Yeah,
and I'm going to try to hurt him in the wallet in the money. That's always what works. He did. Of course, Andy highlighted this. I'm sorry, Andy. Of course, you highlighted, which I don't blame you. Okay, from your point of view, you do not want. You're trying to say something about Snyder fans. It's about the picture with Wonder Woman holding three heads, and it's one's Hamada's, one's Jeff Johns. I think that was in bad taste based on recent events. You can't we can't turn Hamada into a subject of hate and go after him with the whole Snyder Cut fandom. And I disavow that type of going out. I just say go after the money, hurt him with the wallet, and that's it. So I said I agree with you, Andy. I think Snyder Cut should not support this type of thing. The artwork was really good, actually, whoever made it. But I don't think we should be spreading that around because honestly, it hurts Zach. If there is any potential, which I think there's less and less potential unless Snyder Cut really blows it out the park, by supporting that type of thing in the fandom, it's going to hurt. Because then Hamada can say, look what your fans are doing. And you know what? Zach pretty much unfollowed everyone except one Twitter follower the other day. I don't know if people caught that. Yeah, Us United. Us United. Even though I don't like Hamada, I don't like what he's doing, I don't think that's a good look to support, even though it's an illustration of Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman holding 3 heads and one being Hamada. No, I disavow that. I don't like that. Especially since like memes is, world events right now. Memes and constant hate clicks and stuff going after personalities. I think with the world the way it is now, you have to take that seriously. You have to take that seriously because, it's just a joke, bro. It's just a joke, That logic doesn't hold water anymore after the world we're in. People love to hate things, and I don't want to, even though I really do not like Hamada, I do not want to make him an object to hate. I'm just saying I'm going to hurt you with my subscription is going to get lost after the Snyder Cut leaves HBO Go. But I mean, what's your thoughts on that? You saw the image, Matt? Did you see the image? Anyone else?
Yeah. I don't care, to be honest with you. I don't care. I don't care because you know what? Here's the difference between the movie and reality. We dealt with an insurrection in the Capitol of armed citizens, not patriots, but citizens, in some cases terrorists, actually going in there with the express intent of kidnapping and killing members of Congress in order to stop an election that they felt was wrongfully taken, when every metric has said, no, that's not the case at all. So this is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with a situation in our country where that's a problem. A fucking movie ain't the problem, dude. Sorry. A freaking movie ain't the problem. It's not a problem. It's not an issue. Now, the thing is,
social media with these images and it's just memes, bro. It's just, I don't think that whole, I personally, not to get too political in this certain topic, I don't think that holds water anymore. I think we have to treat this more seriously by making people objects of hate constantly, because you just don't know. And I don't want to put, even though I really have a problem with what Hamada's doing, denying the Snyderverse. I think that's why there's so many problems in the DCEU now. I don't want to do that. And that also causes problems for Zach.
Well, those problems predate Hamada. Let's be fair. Those problems predate Hamada, and Hamada is holding the line, or he is acting as a company man. Okay. That's what he's doing. I don't like it either, but that's the reality of it. These problems predate Hamada. They go back to 2016 and probably before then. So we know, sorry, my daughter is like, she does not want to be in this bed. But that is the issue. And so what we're dealing with here are people who are opportunistic carpetbaggers who come on into something that they don't care about, and they profit by spreading false information or bad information or creating an enemy. In the case of the 2 idiots from the corner, they first tried to claim that it was not going to happen, and then they we're attacked when people push back, and then they're able to play the victim when it doesn't go down the way that they want. I saw the screenshot that Andy shared with you earlier. Something about Matt from Lightcast. Look,
yeah, I like Matt.
I like Matt from Lightcast too, but I'll just say it, and I'll say it to Matt's face too. Matt comes across the bully when he doesn't he does privately to a lot of people, and I'm sure people out there will agree with me. He's very aggressive privately, and he's aggressive publicly, but he's very aggressive privately. Like Mikey Sutton dropped a scoop about Batman. And because I know Mikey Sutton, Matt was in my DMs like, yo, what do you know about this guy? And it's not just me. Like, it's a lot of other people that have actually privately are like, they don't like the energy he puts out because they think that it comes across as aggressive. Jeez, my kid is freaking. My girlfriend's on it, but oh my God.
That's right. I see where she gets it from.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, we can talk and we can yell. But that's
baby.
Yeah. If I know, I got to find my baby Yoda doll and give it to her. She has like 3 of them. I don't know what she's doing. But basically it's like that. it's what you have is you have an aggressive the Snyder Cut fandom, as much as I like it, does have gatekeepers. And I'm sorry, Us United as a hashtag, I never really supported it because I know it's bullshit. It is bullshit. A lot of no, and it's true. There are a lot of people in the Snyder Cut fandom that are gatekeepers, that they are the ones that host the live streams or run the channels or have the YouTube feeds or the Twitter feeds, and they're the ones who push this stuff through. And you can agree with me or disagree with me. I don't know where you're coming at from there. I heard that sigh. But that's how I view it. And I'm not saying these are bad people. I'm saying that in every one of these movements, there's always going to be people that are going to be the gatekeepers.
Not saying they're bad people doesn't go far enough. Some of these people are the scum of the earth.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Some of these people make the entire movement look ridiculous. If you really want to, I mean, if you really want to get down to it, the movement was started with good intentions, with a clear goal in mind, and an idea to raise money for suicide prevention, and it was brilliantly done. And little by little, the people who were there in the beginning, myself included, little by little, the people that were there from the beginning when the movement started got slowly and incrementally pushed out in favor of people who are just in it for the very things that you just mentioned, Matt. They want to they control the live streams. They run everything. They think they're better than everyone else. And that's what the problem is. That's why the Snyder Cut movement, that's why the Us United hashtag comes off as a half-hearted diatribe, because it's not all inclusive. It doesn't mean everybody. It doesn't include everybody.
Well, I think of course there's problems, but I can understand why Zach only reaches out to certain people. He want to make sure vet people. Just for example,
I have a theory on that, though.
He can't be associated with fans that push the envelope in a bad way.
No. I have a theory on that.
I'm just saying that's the environment that's
right. I have a theory on that. Why Zach will only go to certain people.
And he's never going to come on this channel.
Remember, but remember, Zack Snyder, for the longest time, was these people were coming out fighting with everybody who said once again, I will use myself. I don't want to implicate anybody else, so I'll just use myself in this situation. People were constantly pushing back against me when I was saying early on, this is going to be a 4-hour film. Don't believe that this movie is going to get cut into bits and pieces. Don't believe that this movie is going to be a 4-part mini series or whatever. It's going to be a film. I kept trying to tell people this, and people were pushing back. People were I got unfollowed. I got blocked by a lot of people. I got attacked. You don't know what you're talking about. The reality is, I think that was just the narrative moving at first to appease HBO Max at the time and the direction that things were going in. Ultimately, the people within the movement who were pushing this one thing were the people who thought, oh, I'm in good with Zack Snyder. I've talked to Zack Snyder on live streams.
Yes.
Right. They got the stars in their eyes. And the reality is I kind of feel like at some point Zach kept telling people this so that they would keep pushing that narrative. And ultimately, at the end of the day, it turns out that that's not the case. Turns out that it is going to be straight up a 4-hour movie. So I'm left to conclude that maybe Zach tells people these kinds of things and talks to certain people because he knows what they're going to do. And he knows that they're going to come off looking like fools sometimes. And I think that that's actually a positive thing, because when you look at it, everybody who ever used the hashtag release the Snyder Cut contributed in some way to helping to get this movie released. And I believe that everybody, no matter who you are in the movement, should be looked upon as everybody did their part. I don't think it should ever be a situation where just these people over here are being hailed, just these people over here are being looked at as heroes.
I think it's a problem, but I also think they're trying, and Zach has to be careful. And
Sure.
I really think that the followers going down to 1, and when he was really promoting the Us United, even though I understand certain individuals did not want to get behind that. I didn't really retweet the Us United thing either, but I understand the sentiment, and you have to be careful when you engage with fans, especially in this world now. And what I don't know if this is the real Andy or not. What he highlighted, I think, is not helping Zach at all. And I'm just putting 2 and 2 together of why he unfollowed a bunch of people on Twitter and now is only following the official Snyder Cut. He has to be careful.
I like that, because I think that once again is proof positive that Zack Snyder sees what's going on. He sees the hypocrisy within the Snyder Cut movement. He knows what's going on.
Be careful. And let's be real though. Snyder Cut is not a cult either. It's just like any hashtag on Twitter.
Exactly.
What's the problem with the president? Is Twitter. And he's got Twitter disease. You like him or hate him, he's got a disease with Twitter. It's a problem with a lot of people. Are people
you get that? It's like you said, you get the stars in your eyes because you have all those followers and you're
any hashtag has Twidiots. Any hashtag has Twidiots, and you have to be careful with hashtags. Hashtags have power. Look at again what happened, but you have to be careful. And maybe he's just being careful too.
Sure.
But I don't know what the answer is. Matt, would lay in here.
Well,
I'm here. Sorry, my daughter is like throwing, like she's gone feral at this point. 3-year-olds, the terrible 2s, that's not real. The terrible 3s, my God.
Yeah, you can go ahead, Matt. You can go first, Matt.
I don't even. Well, real quick, what was the question? I just sat down.
Well, I want to respond. I think this is Andy. There's an absolute cult. Okay, but there's an absolute corner cult too. There is just as there's just as bad behavior there, Andy, that is not called out. There is real bad behavior there too. But I'm just saying this because he throws heat at us. That's all. I'm saying you're not examining what you encourage to.
The cult aspect that Andy's talking about, the cult aspect. Let me, as somebody who's been there from the beginning, as somebody who's been there from the beginning, let me speak a little bit about the cult that exists. The cult that exists isn't really about the Snyder Cut or Zack Snyder. The cult that exists is about the adrenaline rush of the 15 minutes of fame that some people feel that they have attained through the Release the Snyder Cut movement. This is a small group. You're talking about a small minority of people who have essentially ascended, who think they have ascended above the rest of us and speak for the movement as a whole, and are just ravenous and essentially cult-like. And that is something that you always have when you have big movements like this. You are always going to have a small group that's going to be like that, but that by and large is not the majority. That's not how most of us feel, and that doesn't represent, the basis for what the Release the Snyder Cut movement is. I mean,
well, my whole thing is that from what I've seen of Andy, again, I don't know Andy very much, but I've seen from interact with you guys, like the things that has been said. And I am under the impression that people are blaming like Ray Fisher for speaking out, which is like yes and no. Like, you cannot be faulting someone who has a platform and wants to speak on something he feels that's happened to him or he's experienced. But at the same time, I understand people wanting to blame him because he does have this platform. He does have this responsibility where if he says something, people, especially online, are going to eat at that. And when you talk about cults, like, let's talk about fans in general, fans of any genre, any fan of any type of thing. You're going to have your extreme groups, your extreme sections that are going to do and push their points on behalf of the people they're fighting for. And then you have this huge congestion of all these fans that are good and bad, but everyone's going to be grouped in as a collective.
Okay, so Andy's talking to me in Twitter, I'm trying to figure out which one is the fake Popcorn Planet.
Oh my lord! Just look at click the account. Click the account to see which one. He has a check on his name.
Okay.
Does he have a check next to his?
Well, Andy, the one writing about Matt isn't me. Okay, so all right. So the one writing about Matt, someone find that one. I'm trying.
It's not that hard, Max. Just click the Twitter account to see which one has.
Someone help me! I don't know what I'm doing.
Oh my god, you're such. I love you, but you're a boomer. Hold on. What's
yes, I am.
Hold on. Why doesn't he just message you on his actual Twitter?
Well, Andy, if you would like to come on, even if it's for 5 minutes, you're welcome. I do not want a shouting match today. I do not want our first interaction. If you want to actually,
I'll be good.
Okay, please.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna send you
because also Saggy Melons is a rising star.
No,
she is. She
I have to agree with you there, Max.
With anyone, she has her own opinions. Oh, yeah, she could change your mind. She probably wants to discuss it level-headed. So there are problems. The other reason I think I'm going to boycott is just that another removal. And again, I'm going back to people don't like to say when I bring up the race card, but I'm saying removing a prominent black superhero out of the Justice League for reasons that are not related to story and not for the good of the story, I have a big issue with. I really do. Besides where they're going, I absolutely do have an issue with that. Well, they are virtue signaling with the Static Shock announcement during DC Fandom.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I am going to push that home. I really am, because I think it needs to be talked about more, especially if you see the thumbnail, regardless if you like Ray Fisher or not.
These are the facts. These are the facts. You have a crooked studio
or the way he's
has a history.
Let me finish, though. The way he's gone about it, maybe you don't like that, but he hasn't done nearly what Amber Heard. Who's the guy that plays Flash? Ezra Miller choking a lady. And I don't know about Jeff Johns, only what I've heard. So they're still okay to continue, but not Ray or the character Cyborg. So that is a double standard because he hasn't done anything illegal. Nothing.
No, but company, like some people will say and argue, is that you don't want to be. Businesses don't want their employees to talk bad about them or say something that's going to negatively impact their company. So obviously, Ray speaking out was something that was going to put a bad taste in the company's mouth, and they didn't want that. So it's damage control. It's literally just damage control. Like you can't speak out against your bosses. That's just a big no-no. I mean, that's something most of us are afraid to do at regular jobs, like if your boss is being a jerk. But like, see, our jobs aren't like multi-billion. We're not making millions off of these jobs, so it's easier for us as regular people to be like, my boss is being a dick, I can just find another job, no problem, boom. I'm gonna tell people how awful this business is, and you don't think about that. But as far as entertainment wise, that's a bunch of money that you don't want to lose.
All right. Well, I'm talking to Andy. He might come on.
I sent you his actual link from his official checkmarked verified Twitter account that he has tagged the account for the Popcorn Planet. So that link is in your DMs, so you can actually tell that that's actually his account. So just click on whoever is talking to you and make sure that the link I sent you goes to that one. And if that would be the real one. See, big brain energy.
I'm messaging someone
Big
right now.
Brain energy.
Private chat.
What does the silent partner up there think of all this?
Well, I don't necessarily want to continue watching the movies anymore because I just don't really like them. I mean, after I watched
That's a good point. That's a good point.
That's the reason for my boycott. I mean, why be content carrying on with mediocre movies?
I don't. That's another thing. The facts
Okay,
are
I found the other Snyder Cut.
we have a crappy movie studio that has a history of doing backhanded and scumbag things, and they just keep doing it over and over and over again and getting away with it. Where does it stop?
Yeah. So I mean, I wouldn't say I'm boycotting. I'm not interested in watching the movies anymore.
I just have no confidence. It's still the same
Right.
stuff that years
Right.
ago.
And I disagree with their multiverse. Like I really do. Like I think it's going to alienate a lot of people. And I just don't think it's a very good strategy because they haven't established a main universe to branch off of. You know what I mean? And I've said it on multiple streams. I think Marvel, they've earned
The
their
way it
multiverse.
sounded initially, what they wanted to do, particularly with this Flash movie, sounded interesting. But as time went on, and the further along we are, and the way we're looking at things now, where it's the same good old boy network in charge, running everything, doing the same backhanded crap that they always do, that's the reason why it's impossible as a fan who's following this stuff to get behind any of it.
All right.
Basically.
Andy says he'll pop on a minute. This is nothing against Matt because Matt's my brother. I'm going to remove him just because I don't want this chaos tonight.
Well, wait. I thought he said Matt was going to run when he came on.
No.
I'm literally
That
confused.
might have been the other popcorn. Matt's not running from anything. Matt would be fine to have this conversation.
Okay,
I
was confused.
I would. But
yeah, in Matt.
I get it. I get it. It's all good.
You're my best friend on YouTube. You always have been. I've never,
Matt,
so
I still F's with
but
you.
yeah, I just think he wants to have a conversation, but not that conversation tonight. I just don't want to deal with it.
It's fine. It's all good. So I'll fuck off.
Matt, if he gets out of pocket, I will clap his cheeks for you. Okay?
No,
that's okay. That's okay. It's all good. It's all good.
I won't let him dog you when he gets in here either. It's about the Snyder Cut and all that. Okay,
I don't care one way or the other. I don't care one way or the other, dude. It's a lot of this is all for show these days anyway.
All right. Well, yes.
So, all right, I got to go stop a toddler from breaking a door down anyway. So I'll see you again.
Okay.
I was here. That was getting intense.
Yeah. Thanks, Matt. So Andy, if you'd like to pop in, feel free. We'll get your thoughts on this. We'll try to keep it on topic. We don't want to argument like last. Brian was here with the last time. I don't know.
No, we'll just try to keep it as civil as possible.
I was here the last time.
Okay, I couldn't
I
remember.
was here the last time. I was here the last time. I just wasn't on camera.
Okay, Taylor's him here again. Although a lot, you know what the outside perception is, though. Just like Nerdette was in the chat, a lot are not happy with the Snyder Cut fandom right now. No.
Well, hey.
I asked them.
I mean, you can't blame them. You can't blame them if they're acting. I've seen these groups. I've been a part of them myself, and in many different fandoms. And you can't blame people for looking at these groups of radicals and being like, "That's okay." But
when you see it, yeah, and when you see it, and you see how what happens, yeah, that's exactly why.
Because Andy Signor, that's big of him to come on. Andy, hello. Saggy Melon's one of them.
Andy.
Nice to meet all you all. I want to say I actually enjoyed the conversation I was hearing, and thanks for having me on. Sorry to interrupt. I just look, what I liked you said tonight is I've never ever said all Zack Snyder fans are in the cult. I wanted to clarify that because I like I don't know you with the headphones. Sorry, I don't know all these.
I'm Zod Ryder. I tried to have a conversation with you at one point on Twitter, and you blocked me. But
you gotta understand,
I'm not holding it against you because believe me, I understand.
Well, I just wanted to say, I've gotten, and I'm not saying this to be a victim and complain. I just don't have time anymore because I get from this minority of fandom. I've gotten death threats. Jody and I both have done this. They've doxed me. There have been personal addresses. It is a vicious group that I viscerally despise. And you're right. There are other fandoms that have them. I've been lucky enough to be, have some big brands. I've never dealt with the viciousness of any fan group, even the Star Wars fans. I have the Snyder minority that I've called the cult. But just so I'll listen. You guys can ask. But just so we're clear. That's who I've always been up against, and I came on because I applaud you for calling out Lightcast. He's a complete
Lightcast, but I don't like
whatever. Yeah. I've had multiple engagements. He's tripled down on thinking that's okay, and I understand.
I think the world's changed. I think the world's changed. I wouldn't have looked good on that before either. But since the recent world events, you have to just say this isn't just memes and this just isn't hating on people, because these are not fictional people. The real people. You can't just create these images like this where it probably nothing would happen. But also, I really think it's bad for Zach.
Correct.
Zach does not engage with the bad. I mean, it's the larger the fandom is, the more likely there's going to be some bad eggs.
But that's not Zach's fault.
Right.
It's not Zach's fault.
You can't blame him.
Even if causing him a problem with this.
But here's the thing. Even if Zach came out, right? Even if Zach came out with a statement saying, please don't do this on my behalf, that doesn't stop it.
What they do, Saggy, I'm going to give you an example. This is what they do. See, Zack Snyder publishes all of his material on that social media platform, that really buggy social media platform, Vero. And what happens is all these people in the quote unquote cult portion of the Snyder Cut movement act like angels in front of Zack Snyder on Vero. Okay, so they don't show the vitriol and stuff that they do to people. They don't do that on Vero. They do that on Twitter, and they do that in their live streams and different things that they do other social media, because Zach is not on there, not looking at all that. He's on Vero. That's where he posts. That's where he does everything. That's how he communicates with everybody. So to answer your question, I think if Zach actually witnessed some of that, he wouldn't be associating with certain people. I'm just putting it out there because Zack Snyder knows, about certain things, and
that's why they ask
about everything. But again, he can't do everything. Like I said, he can't control people. You can disavow people, that's fine, but that doesn't stop what's happening, right? And at the end of the day, I've seen it firsthand in these movements with all these fanatic fans who are like, oh my God, most of them do it because they want to be like, senpai, notice me. They want to get in good graces with these people because they think it's gonna benefit them.
Right. They think they're gonna have barbecues and sleepovers at Zach's house. That's what these people do.
And then you have people.
Pathetic.
Then you have people who will start YouTube channels just to talk about the drama, just to get their a lot of these extreme fans are doing it for themselves. They're not doing it.
Yeah, like I was saying, it's the 15 minutes of fame element that they get from it. It's that drug induced like rush, which a good friend of mine in the Snyder Cut movement, Mr. West Ashley, calls Zach crack. And that's essentially what it is. They're under the influence of this dopamine-like or endorphin-like thing, and that's what it is.
We should hear a little more from Andy too, based on what I do think you make Twitter posts to try to expose the Snyder, but I absolutely agree with your Twitter post. This is not the way to do it. It really does look bad. And I think also when you're in a fandom, you can't see outside the bubble. Other people outside, like Nerdette was in the comments. She made a video too. Lots of people that are even for Zach are upset with this stuff. It's gone too far. I don't think that, although you kind of said that Ray put people up to this. Ray did not say people to boycott. I'm boycotting just because I don't think they know what they're doing still. And they're still resisting, even though I had disagreements with your initial article, Andy, that they are still actively fighting against the Snyderverse still, even though the Snyder Cut's official and it's going to come out. They do not want to continue that way. Look, and I think it's a shame.
I mean, the fact that I'm here and the fact you guys are having this conversation is proving that it's imploding. And look, I want to just something. I'm going to prove something. Everybody in the comments and here keeps reacting so angrily to me calling them a cult. Why are you so angry? Why aren't you embracing the fact that the small minority is a cult? There is a vicious, angry cult. That is what it is. They will believe whatever Zach says, and they will come hatefully. They will do it toxically. We can't stop it. I'm gonna. But hold on. Let me say it out, and then I'll hear you. But it's a thing. It exists, and I see it more often than you guys. And the reality is, like, I've gotten Teflon to it. It doesn't actually faze me the same way. But when I see people now decapitating Warner executives
that's not
and the way we're at right now, like, I wouldn't put it past
our work was good.
Warner Media. I wouldn't put it past some of these people. They are psychotic people.
No,
I'm saying the people there. And so my point is, there are rational people, and I like that we can create hubs where we can have rational conversations and not just suck Zach thing, whatever it is. Like, we are allowed to criticize, we're allowed to not like certain movies, we're allowed to do things. I'm telling you, the reason I started that whole cult, reject the Snyder cult, is because they were vicious. And I think people are starting to see it more and more, because now that we got the cut, I want more. Now we're restoring the verse. Now I want this. Now I want this. Now I want this. They are drunk with power, Max. And that is always what I was scared of, because if anything, it ruined Zack Snyder's universe. Like, Warner Brothers wants nothing to do with any of this shit anymore. And Ray is to blame for that as well, but that's a separate topic.
No, you could talk. I mean, listen, I let people speak their mind. You could speak about Ray. I still stand by him. I think he's made some mistakes recently. I think the Hamada thing is
what happened to Ray? That is only everyone wants to come out. Hold on, wait. Well, let me just clarify, because you brought it up, and I want to make sure I've seen the piece. Because I know a lot of haters of mine are watching.
I still like Ray.
This will be clipped and played by everyone who tries to hate on me. The reality of my feelings on Ray is I've asked questions. What happened? I did it from day one, and everyone turned on me when I asked about his barber. Notice we don't talk about the barber anymore. I have a source who was on Pinewood sets who said it was a whole effed up thing why he brought that barber, and he had no way, there was no rhyme or reason, or he wasn't even allowed to do that because he went outside the channels. Ray Fisher was a diva on set. That is a fact. I've been told that by a lot of people who don't want to say it publicly, but it's a truth. And he wants an investigation done. He wants a third-party investigation done, and he wants to say the verdict. That's not how investigations are done. And so he looks crazy. And look, I had his back when he came out. But my God, you don't keep stringing out your little evidence and then slowly drop the evidence.
The mistake I had with him was saying I will never work with Hamada again.
Yeah,
that gave him out.
Why are we even talking about Hamada? This is about Josh John.
I think Hamada's done wrong. He's also worked with Jeff. He wants to stand by his guy too. I still think there's stuff out there. I still stand with him. That put us in a bad situation where if he would have just kept speaking his. But I also think you were wrong on one thing. You did say that you had a source that said he took a payday. Didn't you say this in one of your videos that he took a payday?
You watch more of my videos than even I remember, so I don't know.
No, when the remedial action video came out, where he took a payday to.
Oh, I speculated he was making a deal there to sort of wrap it up, but no, I mean, clearly, well, I think that everything changed when they fired him. You're seeing it, like when they fired him, which he fired himself. Let's be honest. When he said, "I'm not going to work with Hamada," why would they want to work with him?
I kind of thought at one point, the whole thing between Ray Fisher and Walter Hamada, had he not said that, I think might have been able to be something that they could have worked out eventually. Yeah. Like you could sit down like civilized human beings and have that discussion. But to say I'm not going to work with Walter Hamada anymore, well, that made you're cutting off. What's the saying? You're cutting off your nose to spite your face.
And then if they moved to remove him from the project and he didn't say that, now they have an excuse.
They have that as evidence. They can say, well, we removed you because you said you're not going to be in any movies that Walter Hamada is producing. Well, that's there you go.
Before, because I don't like to interrupt people really, but I did want to say when Andy was talking about why people in the chat were getting mad when he used the term cult. It's because of the grouping together where some people aren't being extreme, even though they want to support that. They feel like you calling it a cult is saying that they're in the cult, and they're telling you like, no, we're not in a cult. We just support this. So I feel like that they're generalizing. They feel like you're generalizing them into that group.
But they're projecting is what they're doing, because I didn't call them the cult.
Right, but like I said,
the majority of what Snyder Cut fans have been overly positive.
Yeah, they've raised money for suicide prevention. I want to watch the movie. I'm super
Andy,
curious.
Joel, my friend,
I like Zack Snyder. I've never said I don't like Zack Snyder. They spin it all to make me seem like I'm just trying to destroy them. And
my friend Jolly wants to be in on this.
Dude, good for you guys for getting this movie made. But I will say, Ray has now made it impossible for this to happen. And it's the cult who has pushed so hard beyond just the regular fan base, the normies, because Warner Media wants nothing to do with any of this stuff anymore. The cul-de-sac. And you can blame Hamada, but what are we blaming Hamada for? What specifically did Walter Hamada do? And if I'm going to be hated for demanding
Walter Hamada,
as Ray tells me so,
Walter Hamada tried to broker a deal with Ray Fisher to get him to throw those other executives over the.
Where are you getting that intel from?
That's according to Ray Fisher.
Ray Fisher, right? Third-party investigation did it too, right? So we're
a third-party investigator that also said that Ray Fisher cooperated. So I don't.
It doesn't mean that he's in it. He's correct.
It doesn't mean he's not either.
Doesn't give him a verdict. But I'm saying they made a verdict, and Hamada's there.
What in the back lot trailer park cousin humping hell is going on around here?
Jolly, this is Andy Signor.
Anyway, Matt, I didn't want to interrupt too long, but I'm happy that you at least called out that.
No. I mean,
I think we got to agree on something, and I will cross the lines to help applaud that we do that, because I'm not here to hate all of Zack Snyder fans. I'm so sick of that narrative. Think whatever you want. I don't give a shit anymore.
I'm glad to hear you say that, Andy.
I've never done that, man.
Because it's true. I'm telling you, it's true. I kind of
disagree at the beginning. I
crazy.
think you come around more with promoting a T-shirt. I can't even.
You weren't there when they were telling Jody about his family's death, dude. I'm telling you, man.
I awful. They get awful. They get nasty.
I backed it off. Everyone's like Andy backed it off. I backed it off because it was like making me depressed because they were leveling even harder. So I realized I was the shirt almost empowered them in a way, and I realized
the shirt was. So the shirt was a form of enabling that you weren't trying.
And I will own that. I will own that I should have just ignored them, and we should block them and we should mute them. But thank you, Max. I will give Max credit when it's due. Thank you for calling this one out, because I do think more fandom should call it and be like, this is effed up. And people like Lightcast who are saying it's no big deal. I think this is a big deal. They are dangerous.
I don't want to see any of this type of promotion of people's heads and stuff. It's not. Listen, the world is crazy right now. In social media, people have more influence than they realize.
Correct.
That's another thing. I used to think that people can't be under the influence. Yes.
I would like to clarify another thing with you directly, Max. Can we do that really quick before I go? I will never dox you. I'm sorry if you thought I was going to dox you. I don't play that game. So if you got issues with others or you think that, go deal with that. But I want to be clear here. I have no interest in ever doxing people. I have never doxed people. That is so across the line, giving out people's personal information or identities. It is not my place. And that is cult-ish behavior that I will never participate in. Have I made offhanded jokes or been frustrated? We've had back and forth, yes, but I'm making it clear, as I've told you in DM, I will never dox you, Max. I have no interest in doing that. That is not a cool thing. I also think you should put your face out if you're going to hate on people all the time and stop hiding behind the mask. But you know what? What are you going to do?
I got a question. For you,
Andy. You're a puppet over here.
I got to know one thing. Are you a puppet phobe?
No, I love all people.
Good.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I please have your Yoda doll?
It's not that. Not in that command.
I want that Yoda doll. First time I saw it, that's all I talked about that during the last stream. I want that Yoda doll.
Andy. Not for me. Can you have Saggy Melons on Change My Mind one day? She's really good.
Yeah, look. You guys were rational tonight. I like it. I have not.
Maybe Jolly too. That would get some.
I have not tried to hate on any of you recently. I made a video seeing the Snyder fans starting to implode on themselves and a lot of craziness that I don't think I wasn't trying to generalize everybody saying they're trying to boycott, but the fact that there are certain people out there trying to boycott is stupid to me, because it's like you're biting the hand that fed you. You got the thing, and now you're gonna.
I'm boycotting just because of story reasons, and I still
don't say boycott. Don't say boycott. Well, no. I'm saying don't call it a boycott, because if you're doing it,
Zack Snyder situation.
I'm saying individual thinking, right? When you say boycott, you're bringing in a group. If you don't want to support something because you don't want to support it, it's not a boycott. You're doing it for yourself.
Making a choice not to watch it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Don't call it a boycott. If once you call it a boycott, that's when you're bringing in the collective. Now you want everybody to do what you're doing. If you don't want to do it, just do it. That's it.
Then you just want your sheep to follow you. Your sheep life, your Borg life. I don't know. Yeah,
I'm doing it because I can
assimilate.
No, you know how much goodwill came out with this when the Zack Snyder cut was official. Zack brings a lot of fans, a lot of and look, his stuff always trends on Fandom and everything else. And then still to throw shade on the project, at the very least, even if he didn't want it to go, that article with Hamada, where there was the reporter's interpretation of a cul-de-sac, it's not going anywhere. Why not just leave it out and say, see where it goes? I'm sick of the shade that they're throwing at. They treated Zack horribly. I've never seen a Andy, I would like to ask you a question.
Well, I was going to say Warner Brothers totally treated Zack, and I hope we can all admit, like, my article was correct in that Warner Brothers wanted nothing to do with this. It was AT&T and Warner Media that stepped in, desperately trying to make the content and thinking that this was a slam dunk for them. I think they were regretting the purchase now, seeing how intense some of the fandom is. That's why I think everyone should have spoke up against and not empowered the cult as much, because they're a loud minority. They are a loud minority, and that's what that's the taste in everyone's mouth after all this.
I called it out, and I asked others to when I retweeted your tweet, Andy. But this was one example. If I see it again, I'll do that too. But this was one image. I think Matt, even though I like Lightcast, I think he wasn't thinking outside in thinking about the perception.
He's quadrupled down. He has no problem with that image. I've seen it.
No, like some in the Twitter thread said, you're commenting back and forth. What if that was Ray Fisher's head? People would have a problem.
Amen.
I mean, it's that easy to see the.
I see a lot of people, and so I just want to make sure I'm answering because I don't want to be here forever. Not no disrespect. I
know I have one more question.
But hold on, I'll let you ask the question. But can I clarify the Ye Fisher stuff? Since you're giving me a place and you guys are listening and we're being civil, I appreciate it. The Ye Fisher stuff is personal to me. I was canceled based off of false allegations. Now, I had to take accountability for shit I did do. I've owned that, and I get made fun of all the time for cheating on my wife and things. It is what it is. And Teflon. But the reality is, like, I've been there. You guys can understand the reason I'm against this is because I don't like people just canceling someone and then torturing their careers and just saying, because I told you so. Like, Ray Fisher was in a Forbes article saying he heard it from other people. Like, that's called hearsay. Like, it's all it hits me very personally. I got to see facts before I go not only destroy Joss Whedon, who, you know what? I've heard shitty stuff about Joss Whedon. I'm sure that set sucked. I'm sure he was a jerk. But Gal Gadot figured out how to do it, professionally. She was an adult who figured out how to do it then and there, and she's made it clear she's cool. She wasn't there when Ray was there. So my point is, like, look, I believed Ray in the beginning. I supported Ray in the beginning. Ray kept stringing along, and it started being fishy to me. Then Ray came at me personally. He tweeted a total toxic personality who called me racist, and Ray just fanned that flame. And when I saw that, I was like, okay, true colors. Mr. I don't pay attention to the bullies, like totally like throwing shade at people who are asking questions about
you're upset because he.
And the reality, I just giving the quick recap. That's where it got personal. And then he went after Jody and the whole Ye Fisher, gay Fisher nonsense.
Well, I still heard what I heard too. I still heard.
Not for nothing, Andy. It sounded like he said gay the second time.
I've told this to Enosh as well. He said yay. Then you're calling him a liar. I've heard. I was there.
But it's just what people. It's what people hear, Andy. Dude, it's what people hear.
I'm telling you, when you're corrected. When you're corrected, you either accept it or you say we're liars, right? And it is what it is. But we've corrected it. We made it very clear that's not what he said. So you guys can say whatever you want and do what you want. I think Ray has proven himself to be. It's Kanye. It's like that's what's happening. He's got an ego, and he'll say whatever he's got to say. That's good.
Things. I don't like the route he went, but also, I mean, I still stand by him. I do have questions. I never said fire. I never retweeted fire Jeff Johns. because I think
if he said gay, is it really? Why would it matter even if he said gay? Which he didn't say. If you slow it down, it's yay. But like, still, okay, this is stupid. I mean, like, I'm sorry, I'm not in like a woke PC community where that's like the end of the world. It's like something stupid he shouldn't have said. I wouldn't have liked it, but I'm not going to cancel someone for saying the word gay in a it's been in movies and said for decades. Like, I don't agree with it. I don't like it. But again, it doesn't warrant everyone canceling Jody.
At that time,
even if he said it, it's like,
I don't want him canceled either.
The reality is like, we got to move on from it. At the end of the day, beyond
at that time,
which we know what we said.
You two
Ray
together
has changed his story, is what I'm trying to get at. But go ahead.
Okay. But at that time, you two were doing a lot of behavior that I personally had an issue with, and I was highlighting myself.
Take it out with him.
Well, I can't anymore. You know
why?
Yeah.
As being honest, like, make content that's not. I mean, you've been better, so thank you. But make content that's not literally just taking our titles of our streams and our thumbnails and posting on YouTube.
I mean, it works good.
Nobody's trying to be disrespectful, and everybody's trying to be civil here. So I would say that's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, look, and I've noticed you have done it less. And if Jody's threat made you do that, I think he made you a better person, to be perfectly honest.
Don't give him that credit. That's bullshit. Still, I can't even go into it really. Like, I'd still talk to him man to man. I have a
no. He doesn't. He doesn't care. I know. He doesn't care. I don't care either. The only reason I'm here,
that's against terms of service.
The only reason here is because I like that you actually called this out, and I wanted to give you props for that. I don't. I still got issues. We clearly have issues with each other, but I wanted to try and at least meet in the middle and shake your hand on that, because I agree. It is not cool what that image was out.
I don't like it.
I think we should call it out. So I'm glad you did, just to point out that yes, there is a toxic base. Yes, there is every fandom, but I'm telling you, and again, not to tout my accomplishments, I've been up there, guys. I've had higher channels than even I'm on now. I've dealt with all types of fandoms. The DC fandom has always been a little bit more extreme, and the Snyder minority, awful people, are the worst I've ever.
I mean, they're just people that carry a hashtag. People carry multiple.
No, they take that hashtag like a weapon. They are weaponizing this. They want, and I do believe Ray Fisher wants blood. Like, I don't think he wants justice. Like, he will not accept anything except for.
Ray Fisher sounds awfully calm and peaceful for somebody who wants blood.
Fair, Andy. I mean, you've gone against your Screen Junkies and Roxy and all that recently too. So I mean, you're criticizing him for wanting revenge, but I mean, you've gone.
But Max,
I would say that's different. I would say that's different.
They were two-faced and they're hypocrites, and I'm calling out the hypocrisy because I don't give a shit anymore. That's different. I think Ray, if he really has evidence, I don't understand why he's holding it. Oh, because I'm protecting the people. Okay, well, do they really still want this to even go? I don't like someone doing it on behalf of somebody else, because that's whispered down the lane to me. I wasn't there. When you call someone a racist, that's so charged, and it cannot sometimes not be. Like, I think it's really unfair when you label all Trump supporters racist. I've moved to Florida to learn that's actually not the case. Now, there's a lot of them. They're there, but it's a very dangerous thing. And so super liberal Ray Fisher, in the height of Black Lives Matter, feeling empowered and feeling like, oh, you know what he said 2 years ago, that was racist. Was it? Were we there? Do we know what was said? That's a slippery slope, guys. And I'm sorry. I'm not just going to support Ray to the death because he says so to fire Hamada and everybody. That's extreme. He's going too extreme to not drop us facts. That's why I fought up against Ray Fisher. And if he drops facts tomorrow and plays the tape, I'm telling you right here and there, I will eat my crow and I will say, well, shit, that's not good. We should get rid of these people. Until then, the investigation's over. It's time for Ray to move on. He's dividing the fans. Get over it at this point, or deliver.
As a Black woman, I'm just gonna say on the topic of race, I think that it's kind of damaging to Black community people, and I don't speak for everyone, but I think it's damaging when we immediately use that label on somebody because they're not Black. I think that's actually reverse racism. They're like, that's like if I was like, you guys said something mean to me, and I just be like, oh, why? Because I'm Black. Like, that's not fair, because that's not what it is. You know, just because a person's white doesn't mean they're racist. And you're right. I have a lot of friends who are white and Trump supporters, and they are my best friends. I don't judge them based on who they support. It's not my place. Like, everyone's entitled. But yeah, you are right that having a moment where somebody who's black, like Ray Fisher, I don't think it's right for anyone to assume somebody is racist.
I don't think we should assume that he's not telling the truth either, though. Just
right, but again, it depends. It really depends on what was said, and if this person has a history of saying racist things, or you know what I mean. But just if somebody said something that disagreed with them, and they're like, "Oh, it's because they're black. It's because they're white, and I'm a black guy." They don't, you know what I mean?
You totally well said. And but to Max, just I didn't. Sorry to interrupt. Just to like, there's believing Ray Fisher, and there's demanding accountability and actions that Ray Fisher wants. Like, that's where it gets scary.
I want accountability.
Ray doesn't get to be the judge, jury, and executioner of the investigation. Right. Like, he might actually be very emotionally invested. And yes, I believe that set sucked. I believe some people said shitty things. I believe, and I'm pretty confident, they were bashing Zach the whole time. And I get it. That sucks. That's not right. That's not fair. They were completely changing his movie. Zach was going through a tragedy. I get why so many of these fans are triggered, but that doesn't warrant Walter Hamada being scorched earth, never working again, which is what Ray Fisher is basically trying to do right now. Like, he's going too far. You got to tell me why to go that far, and to see so many fans just stand with Ray without being like, Ray,
Jeff
John, give me a little bit more.
We still don't know. I'm still not canceling Jeff Johns, but I still believe Ray Fisher too. Like, I have no reason to not believe him yet. I don't.
Like what has Ray Fisher said to make you not believe him so
your
vehemently?
Personal bias, I think, is coming.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's getting in the way.
Well, hold on. Here's the thing. Number one, I want to just address somebody who said something in the chat saying that they don't agree with Ray or whatever, and he's a black man. Race has nothing to do with believing somebody or not. Number one. Number two, I do kind of, now that I'm talking to Andy, I understand his point, because again, I've come from a community where we had a similar situation in the anime community where it's okay, and I had to learn this myself, that it's understandable and okay when you make an accusation that people, in fairness, if you make it public, you know, people want to know why. It's fair to have people want to have proof so that they know that what they're doing is justified. It's completely fair. If you want to cancel somebody, you better make sure that you're canceling them for the right reasons. Otherwise, it's just bullcrap. You're ruining someone's career over bullcrap. So it's understandable for Andy, and people who hate Andy's opinion. I get he might not have a popular opinion, cool. But you have to understand his standpoint, especially somebody who's been through this. You have to have proof to back your claim so people understand why they're fighting.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it comes down to.
And I mean, the reason why that, you know, I mean, what have you heard from Hamada? What have you heard from, you know, Jeff Johns? What have you heard from any of these other people that have been accused? Nothing, because they're not, you know, putting anything out there. Ray's the only one that's saying,
exactly.
Hey,
the only thing
you know,
we heard.
I'm kind of filling you guys in as I go, and I'm giving you information as we move along. I'm playing the long game. I'm waiting for the end. And if it's proven,
talk to you, and he wants to talk civilly.
No, I think we're having such a good time with these six. Why do we
okay. I gotta be fair. Then I can't. I can't.
I mean, I can say stuff.
Ryan,
that's cool.
Ryan,
yeah,
Ryan. I was thinking about what you were just saying. The whole idea that the only person that we heard from out of all people that were accused was John Berg. And what did John Berg say? John Berg
he dismissed
offhandedly dismissed Ray Fisher and said it was because Ray Fisher didn't want to say "booyah" on the set of Justice League.
Do you believe that? Because I do.
I think they were.
I believe that. I definitely, I wholeheartedly believe that you know, they were like, "Hey, say this," and he's like, you know, that's not.
But
that's
he was
not the character.
He was included in the creative decision of the character.
Right, that's not the character that Zach and I
remove everything and
created. So that's kind of out of character for this version of, you know.
But it would have been an Easter egg, which would have been a nice nod to the Teen Titans.
It would have been, but I mean, it also depends on the circumstance. Because I think, didn't he say "booyah" in the film?
It's not whose movie is it again?
Yeah, he did end up saying "booyah" in the film.
It's not Ray Fisher's movie, but that's
not Ray
an
Fisher's
important point to prove. The dude was difficult on set. He had his own mind of what the character should be. I'm sorry, who's Ray Fisher? You're like 10th on the call sheet, dude.
Exactly, and that's why stuff happened for Gal, but not
even if you
Ray.
like it, you could bitch about it later, but do your job. and he didn't.
Yeah. No, at the end of the day, do your
part
job
of his
well.
witness.
Right.
Oh yeah,
All I know is
I agree.
All I know about Rey is, and I'm not very happy about the Rey situation either.
Okay.
She is not a Skywalker. She is a Palpatine.
Wrong Rey. Wrong Rey, Jolly. Get it together. Wrong Rey. We're talking about
man.
DC.
Oh, God. Palpatine.
Shit, sorry, I smoked a lot of weed before the show.
Well, do you think your personal bias with almost being canceled kind of clouds your judgment and wanting to prove people that do the do?
I think it's the opposite. I think it's opened my mind and my eyes to not
a lot
the bias. I think a lot of people just need to believe everybody, and I'll hear anybody, but I think believing people is a dangerous road, because I can tell you several stories where that's not the case. And I think Hollywood, liberal Hollywood especially, has just, we have to believe them. And it's like, hearing them out is one thing, but we also have to hear the other person, because the reality is there's the truth. There's, your truth, my truth, right?
The whole issue with Rey is that he hasn't presented his evidence well enough.
Correct. That is the problem with Rey. If Rey and everyone can say, yeah, well, it's a plan. No, there's dude in any he went through his case. He gave all the evidence. Warner Media, remember, he's always defended Warner Media. Warner Media did the case with the third party. He finally approved. He even gave us the audio to confirm that he gave it to them, and they said, "Great, thanks so much. You're great. You are credible. Thanks so much." That's what everyone says in HR meetings. I've been there in my own HR meeting, as well as a senior exec, having to deal with other people to help them with the problems they have. Of course, you de-escalate in a meeting like that. That audio he provided said nothing. It proved nothing. It just showed that it was a first.
It didn't prove much, but it did prove that
Did he get consent from the woman to share it?
He had to have gotten consent, or they would have attacked him for defamation.
Well, they haven't done it. Well, no,
they haven't done it, and they've
worked. He's in New York. It's a one-party recording law, so he could have gotten away with that.
No, I have an issue there with people that record without permission too. But I am hoping he got it. If he didn't, I would speak out against that.
And just leaking that out, like, I don't believe for a second the lawyer there was like, yeah, of course, post this on Twitter. I mean, what legal entity is going to give that permission? They were probably recording him. They want to stay out of it, and he recorded them, and then just sort of said, well, fuck it, I'm going to do it. Look.
That's
the evidence of just like, this man will do whatever it takes to sort of spin the story, and he won't share evidence.
I understand why he wanted to release it, because people were not believe people out there that are interested in this story based on what the articles are coming out, and he has proof that says the investigator said he did a good job and that he gave the info that was needed. So he was doing a counterpoint, which I don't understand. I understand why he released it. I hope too that he did have the consent. Ryan thinks he has the consent.
And back to my earlier point, that they want to sweep this under the rug.
Hold on, wait a minute.
Because no one else is saying anything. No one has said a damn thing other than Rey. And if Rey wouldn't say anything, if Rey didn't come out and like kind of give updates as you go, then who the hell would know that anything was going on backstage? And it would have been handled.
Enosh actually.
I want to address Enosh. Like, Enosh, just because you talk to the guy doesn't mean you know anything. So, and I don't want to have a fight with you about Rey, because I know what you're going to do. Show your bias and fight for Rey. So it's not afraid. I don't want to waste the time tonight with you, because you've shown your bias, because you don't ask a single tough question to Rey, because you're so excited to have him on your channel and it's the intro and all this stuff. So I think you are the most biased out of all of this. So no offense, Enosh.
You're talking bad about my friend, though, Andy.
He just called me out and said, I'm afraid, so I'll call him back out.
I have to abide by my guest. My guest only wants to speak with certain people, so I'm going to follow. I don't like surprising people on live streams. That's why I'm not letting him on.
So here's the thing. I won't say that Enosh is biased. I feel like since he's talked to Rey, like, I wouldn't consider it really a bias. He's had the conversation with Rey.
It's
where
not
others
about Enosh. No, I don't want. I
get that, but I just don't want to.
Enosh is trying to force himself into a conversation that he's not in a Rey.
I don't want to assume he's a bias. I don't want to.
So it's no big deal.
Yeah, so I don't think it adds anything. But I was going to say one last thing about this Rey thing, of just fact that there was actually he did drop some specifics, which were the ones that were in the Forbes article. It's the first time he actually like really came out with some specifics. Right. And what happened? The writer got fired. I know folks at Forbes, they were pissed because that writer did not do the research, and they were up to 1 million lawsuits trying to prove the evidence that Rey promised he had. And so that's why that article was adjusted. That's why the writer was fired, because Whedon's lawyers finally attacked once there was specific accusations. And that's why it's so important to have accusations, because even those accusations were put up to scrutiny of Joss admitting, well, that I wasn't even there. That was Zach's color guy. What are you talking about? So again, it's why it's complicated, because Ray keeps wanting to say, well, no. And then when he drops a little bit, that's what happens. And so he can spin it however he wants because he's emotionally invested. But the reality is he's lost every step of the way. He lost the Forbes moment. He lost the investigation. He lost the Flash. And look, the guy might have gone through some terrible stuff, and I feel bad for that sake. But man, you did this yourself. You went up against the court. And if you're going to do that,
he went up against the establishment. He went up against the establishment. I mean, you know yourself, Andy, how these people are behind closed doors. They're the dirtiest, nastiest kind of people, man.
Don't disagree.
I mean,
well, there's a reason why they always say don't
so
fight.
what he's demonstrating for me is a sliver of integrity, you know, which he always throws around. But it is like, you know, somebody's that is coming out there and just trying to, like, you know, shed some light, pull the curtain back, you know, let us know, kind of just like the casting couch shit that goes on over there, right?
Yes.
You know, it's just, you know, and I applaud him for that. You know, if there are these things going on behind the scenes, you know, yeah, you know what? Thwart people who are trying to become actors and actresses and live out there, you know, with friends and don't make any money for months and never get, you know, callbacks and shit like that. You know, I mean, Ray doesn't have to work with Hamada anymore, and that's fine. That's his prerogative. You know, if he doesn't get called back to do anything else, oh well, he's in Mississippi doing another film. It's fine. It doesn't matter. It's his doing. He wanted to do it. That's fine. That you make your bed and you lie in it. You know, that's it. Just if he said, hey, I don't want to work with Hamada anymore, then okay. They say, okay, we're going to re-up him for 2 more years. Well, then obviously he's not going to be in any of the projects going forward that have Hamada attached to them.
So how far do you think Ray should keep fighting this fight?
I just
all your answers. Like,
I think he should have kept still speaking out, just not say that I'm never going to work with him again, because that gives them an out. And now we're not going to have Cyborg in the future.
But I'm sorry, Max, yeah. That's your focus. Your focus is a fan, right? You only care about being entertained, and that's why you're upset.
I care about the accountability too.
I don't.
Yeah, and so I'm just saying. Look. I had issues with the workplace. You know, I had somebody who was harassing me, and I filled these things out. And you know what the company did? The guy had more tenure than me. He was in the wrong because my grandfather had passed away. I was on the phone, and he came over and harassed me while I was on the phone. I had asked my supervisor to, you know, so that I could take a call because it was personal business, and they approved it. And he came over and harassed me for being on the phone. And then after that, we went to HR, filled out all the paperwork. You know what they did? They started moving me around the company, trying to put me in horrible situations so that I would eventually quit. You know, that's just big business. You know, and like I said, for seeing Ray do this, I can empathize with that a little bit and say, okay, just let's see it through to fruition. Let's see it to the end. And if at the end he's not holding his hand or there's nothing in his hand, then I'll say, you know what, Ray, I can't stand with you anymore, buddy. But at the end, if he is, then I'll be like, you know what, I backed the right horse.
Right, but my thing is, right, I'm like I said, that's why when you were like, well, Max is looking at it as a fan, I'm not. Right, I'm not a hardcore fan of these things. Do I enjoy the movies? Sure, but I'm not hardcore, right? So I'm looking at this as this is a human being with a job, and something clearly happened. Something did happen. We can all agree something happened. The question of it is what happened, because you always have these celebrities speaking out. And they'll start off very vague, and you're just like wondering, well, something clearly happened, because number one, why would somebody who had a multi-billion, however much money he was making on this project, come out and jeopardize that? Something clearly did happen, but the masses want to know, well, what happened so we can decide what we want to do.
Right, public opinion.
Right,
it's the court of public opinion.
And I would say, in some people's defense who don't like that Ray Fisher came out, I understand their side. It's like, if you're going to come out with something, you gotta, especially publicly, you gotta give us more than just I don't want to work with.
Well, I mean, even an equivalent of Gal Gadot came out in favor of Ray and said shit did happen, and that was Jason Momoa, who also had $1 billion.
Just to correct, Gal Gadot had her own issues and wasn't.
She had her own issues, but she worked them out.
Gal was there, and Gal made it very clear she did not know what happened to Ray.
But
no, and I'm in no way stating that Gal was in the know. I'm saying that the level that Warner Brothers sees Gal Gadot and the level that they see Momoa as money making machines. He came out in support of Ray. He said this Frosty the Snowman shit's it's absurd. Guys, just let this shit happen. Let this stuff come out. On its own. Real shit did happen on the set. And yes, Hamada wasn't there for the set. That's all Berg, Johns, and what's his name, Whedon. So, but Jim Lee has got Jeff Johns back, so he's not missing any work. He's over there working at Image, doing something for Jim, and I'm sure Whedon left and he's doing his own thing or whatever. He had issues with his wife. And stuff like that, when they were talking in talks with Batgirl and all that, and they took him off that project. Don't know about John Berg. The last thing he said was "booyah," and he's out of here. And with Hamada, he just got signed for 2 more years. He pulled the whole Kathleen Kennedy and said, "Hey, somebody leaked this shit out for me." So, because he wanted people to know that he wanted to get validity too. He wanted to put out there that this studio is backing me and signing me or re-signing me for 2 more years at least. So
I don't know.
Like I said, I'm just waiting for this thing to be finished, and I'm sure it's going to be done sometime this year.
Like I said, at the end of the day, everyone just needs to understand there is a situation that, for the most part, doesn't directly involve any of us here. It's an issue that has to do with Ray Fisher and the company he works for. And granted, yes, it was made public. We all now know there's some issues, and now everyone's sitting there trying to pick a side of who should I back? Should I back Ray? Should I back the company? And it becomes a conflict, right? That's the problem. And at the end of the day, it's like I get both sides of the spectrum.
Warner isn't out there trying to make a hashtag to go against Ray. They put press releases out to do hit pieces, whatever, to try and defend themselves. But Ray is fueling an army. Don't ignore that. He is. Oh. So that's a fact. So I'm sorry, but I don't like that. I don't like people who guide a mob based off of their own accusations and then demand accountability that they want, because that's not how real life works. And so could Ray be telling the truth? Sure. It tells me I'm not firing Walter Hamada, and I'm not following any mob to go get his head, because that's absurd to me. Until you can actually prove it, or an investigation, or a studio, or someone.
And that's why I'm
sorry, Ray. I don't care what you say about it.
All this stuff too, I mean, that's not the way. I mean, I disagree with Max. I disagree with Jarbo. I don't think we should boycott, because these other people, Pattinson, Reeves, the Machietis, and James Gunn, they didn't have a part of this. So why should they be penalized?
I can't go along with this chaos of denying with a blueprint that's there for the DCEU. They're still throwing shade on Zach. At the very least,
that's never going to stop.
I can't go along with it personally anymore.
I mean, seriously, it's going to continue.
Wonder Woman 84 was a shit show. It was a mess.
It was a mess.
If they don't, if they had a plan, I think
we all agree on that.
Their only plan is to not go along with the Snyderverse. That's their only plan. That's my.
But Matt, I don't say this out of hate. Do you really not see why? Like, they've been dealing with bullies. That's what's happening.
No,
Ray has. Wait, imagine if Ray was just. Imagine if
Ray didn't have anything to do with Wonder Woman.
But hear a scenario out, okay? Again, just we're speculating. Okay. Imagine there's a scenario where it was a boys' club. They were jerks. They probably said some stuff unintentionally racist, maybe even, and it was just a toxic place. It was stupid. It was a bad environment. But no one was actually abused, right? It was just it happens all the time on movie sets. Tom Cruise was just abusive on a movie set. Christian Bale was abusive on a set. It happened. Lily Tomlin, go look up that one, guys. It happens all the time. So you have what happens all the time on a set, on a movie that was such a mess. You got alcoholic Ben Affleck, who's miserable, probably not showing up on time. You got Joss Whedon, who's a jerk. It was just a nightmare for all involved.
That's
and
nothing.
now here you have
Ray Fisher,
and now here you have Ray Fisher 3 years later trying to champion for his boy Zach, who they completely torched, and feeling like, you know what? I got this. I'm F all those people who were involved and disrespected Zach. And then you got the studio who's like, well, shit, what'd you do, Jeff? What'd you do, Walter? I don't know. I told him to say booyah. He was a pain in the ass. I wasn't paying attention to him because he was annoying. You have all this shit that's probably the reality. And then what are we doing? We're canceling all of them and following the mob of Ray because he might have just been really pissed and there might have been some stupid bad shit that shouldn't happen. But what is the outcome? How far are we?
Should be held accountable for that.
Like I said,
what is the accountability for what, Max? And what's the punishment?
Hey,
Ray was punishment. He just said accountability.
Ray was a womanizer. Ray did a lot of heroin, but he made some great music, and I really enjoyed his piano.
Oh yeah,
I like what
Wrong Ray. We were talking about
George on mind.
Wrong Ray.
So here's the thing, right? The issue is the term boycott, right? You only should boycott something if whatever you're boycotting did something very criminal, right? That's my opinion. That's why I feel is a proper way of boycotting something.
It's criminal the way Warner Brothers has handled the DCEU.
But here's the thing.
They still don't have a plan.
Here's the thing.
Being a jerk on set is not illegal.
It's not illegal.
Not criminal. And thank you. That is exactly my point. There are a lot of jerks in the world. Just don't work with them again. Tell people they're a jerk. Get the word spread out the right way. But instead, what Ray's doing is for justice. No, he wants blood, and I think he's extended his hand too far. Like he's not
know for sure either, though. You said, if you're wrong, you'll eat crow on it. You don't know.
But I got to base it off what I've seen so far, and so far,
I mean, I feel the same. If I'm wrong and Ray has absolutely nothing, I'll eat crow. I don't care.
Right.
But I buy his narrative and I understand it, and I'm okay with everything coming out the way it is, because at the end of the day, it's really like Melon was saying, it's not really our fucking business. This is shit that happens to other people. Yeah. So I mean,
but now it's our business.
I can agree with
our
that.
business now because it was made public. And the thing is, like I keep saying, everyone's saying boycott doesn't work. It doesn't in this scenario. If you don't want to support it because you don't have all the information, you don't know everything that's going on, you can choose as an individual thinker to not support something if you so choose. But calling for everybody who wants to stay indifferent or have their other side to boycott something, that's not the way to do it, because we don't know what's going on. We only have, like, Andy thinks Ray might be full of crap. He very might well be. We don't know. So if you want to boycott something, not like this, because it's not going to help anyone, because we don't know.
I have taken it personally, and I've gone after him, but it's because he made it personal with Jody and I. So I mean, like, he asked for that.
No.
If he hadn't engaged with Twitter trolls,
he heard too. You can't blame him for that.
Engaged, we wouldn't have done it the same way. He absolutely went against what he says he doesn't follow, and to me, that made him a phony. It showed that he was lying because he has not corrected them, because two people were criticizing him, and then he put him on blast. Well, here's what this person. Maybe this guy's a racist. Maybe this guy's a homophobe. Look, you could say whatever you want. Jody isn't a homophobe. I'm not like blind to him. Like, he is a good friend to me, and I will defend him forever. Like, I don't think he's a bad person. He makes serious opinions that upset people, and that's why so many people like him. Why he's successful. But he's not a toxic, abusive person, and he's not a homophobe. And so, for Ray to spread that narrative, whether you think he said gay or not, that's not what the intent was, and intent is important. Intent's always important.
But that's the way Ray saw it.
Try to discredit him.
Believe whatever you want. I'm just telling you. I know the guy.
I mean, I'm not letting Enosh on, but I have to be fair to his points. You guys went really hard after Ray to try to discredit him.
How did I? But no, that's not true. Just to discredit, you're just reading his chats. But we didn't try to discredit him. We've talked about the evidence that he's provided, and we've talked about the case. I've followed it very closely. I can tell you anything. People are online tonight saying, or this week saying, "Well, see, Ray proved it with his audio because they said he didn't show up." And
I don't think the audio proved
people aren't like
either way.
The narrative that dispelled. Hold on, the narrative that dispelled his audio was a comment that was made either in September or August
about his first investigation,
about how he was difficult,
and then he showed up in the second one. Warner never said he didn't show up in the second one. But my point is, people assumed, we'll see, his audio proves he did show up. It's like, no one said he didn't show up.
It just proved that he was cooperative for the third-party investigators.
Right, and if anything, that was more telling, because it shows, well, then it's a conspiracy where not only Warner Media, not Warner Brothers, Jason Kilar, Aaron Ansar, the top of Warner Media is now covering up, and then this third-party judge and investigation are also in on it, and that's a huge accusation that now, again, I need proof to go against all of that. is what the reality for me is. It's not about
he revealed what he needed to with that audio clip to show that he cooperated and he provided names in what happened.
Now, if he drops an audio, if he's doing all this to sort of put them against the wall and then drop a audio tape of Walter Hamada using the N-word or whatever it is, like, okay, then do it, is the point. Like,
well, I kind of believe that
what happened.
They held Flash over his head the whole time because now he's removed.
Well, they did that for incentive. I agree with what Ray was saying about Walter Hamada saying, "Hey, you know, I'm down with John Berg and Joss Whedon because they're already out the fucking door anyway." But can we hold on to Jeff because he has so much intellectual properties that we want to take advantage of, and we'd really like to do this thing on HBO Max called Green Lantern, and we haven't been able to do that shit ever since we announced HBO Max, and it's still not going to be announced. They even tried to announce it again in Fandom 2. They were like, "Hey, we're doing this thing with Green Lantern." Oh shit, it's still attached to Jeff Johns because he's created so many characters and shit like that, and they're untethering him from everything so that they can move forward with that character, that property that DC owns. So yeah, I mean, I can agree that, you know, the narrative makes sense that Walter Hamada would want to say, "Hey, can I broker a freaking deal? Can I put you in a movie so that I can keep this guy so I don't have to do all this extra work and untether him from the damn projects?" I agree with that because that makes sense.
Well, I think the reason Max likes Ray so much is because he wears a mask, but he kicks people in the face with a 619. You know, even though he's been in wrestling for a long time, I really like him as a wrestler. But you know, he needs to take the mask off. What do you think, Max? Rey Mysterio.
I have a question for Andy.
Rey Mysterio? No.
I have a question for Andy. So I'm reading the chat, and my question for you is: when you're reporting on the Ray Fisher story and everything that's going on with the DCEU, when you're reporting, are you just kind of reporting what you're seeing and then kind of just putting your opinion on it as like just being like, I don't believe him, and you think maybe that's why people are giving you a hard time because you're also attaching a personal opinion to it? Or
no, I mean, I have sources I can't share who have told me things just like others have told me things.
Right, but that's true with anything. Like when you see something a certain way, you add your own perspective, you add your own narrative. You know, of course. You know.
Well, no,
it's my channel. I do my thoughts. Yeah, I take it from the other side, from another side, because I think the reality is for me, when he called me racist and implied I was a racist, he doesn't know me. Like, he made that decision on his own to spotlight me on Twitter.
You made a retweet, right?
And when he made that retweet and chose to do that, to me, he crossed the line of proving, well, that's not what you do if you're being an honest, genuine person who always talks about don't give in to bullies and don't embrace.
I don't know exactly what
that to me was the first red flag personally, where I thought, interesting.
But the tweet about the other person was fine. I have no issue with that.
But Max, the reason it all and there was a little theatrics to it, of course. It got me some views. I'm not going to deny any of that. That's why we do any of this, Max. But the reality was, like, when he did that, we caught him blocking my Ghost account during a live stream.
So
when I caught that, I was like, well, I thought this is the guy who doesn't pay attention to the bullies.
Everybody,
Max, hold on. I promise. I used a separate account and I had it up. And during the stream, it blocked. There's unless it was one of his social media reps. I don't think he's got those. Ray Fisher
does have people that look online
and blocked me during a stream. And when that happened, he went against the narrative of I don't pay attention to the boy. He was full of shit, in my opinion, because I was like, you are paying attention. And where I get caught up is like, why don't you answer the tough questions?
Weren't you guys adding in before that though? Why wouldn't he block you?
No, I wasn't. I asked about the barber. That's where it all started. Okay. I asked about a barber and I was labeled racist because I asked about the barber.
Meanwhile, what are the tough questions though, Andy?
Well, the question was, I asked the first question I asked that got me shit was, well, did the barber get paid? Because I asked legitimately, well, that would even be more effed up. And everyone jumped on me and said, oh, Derry, what does it matter? This was height of Black Lives Matter. Oh, what are you talking about? His barber should have been there and he should have got paid. The reality is, like, it doesn't work that way. Like, they have contracts. There's negotiations. They already have makeup teams on set. They can't just bring someone out. They have to be credited on the movie. It's a lot of production logistics that actually.
You're assuming that this,
and that was the reality. No, I know someone who was there who saw all that go down, and Ray just brought a guy in.
Right, but every person on set has to have clearance of some sort. They're not just going to let some fly-by-night person.
Ray didn't do that. I have someone who was there. So the reality was, like, there's things that could be that you guys that I've been told, and that could be the case. And so that's why I started saying, something's off. And when he made me personally, and then he made a point to then call out Enosh's tweet, that's when things got personal for me, where I was like, dude, if I was trying to take down a studio and I was telling the truth, I would not waste time with trolls on the internet. That is the last thing I do. But here he is doing that, doing his Twitch. He's building a audience and an army, and so I've seen that, and then I've paid attention to the news, and so I don't think building him skeptically, and no one else is doing that, and so that's why people don't like me, because I ask questions. I don't believe everything he's put out there.
You guys were kind of mocking him on the barber thing, like, oh, this is another example of booyah, and
no, they were talking about being prima donna and stuff.
Right.
He was. I called him a diva. And
diva. There you go.
He was.
Well, prima donna diva.
That was the word that was used to me from someone who was there. So, I mean, look, the reality is a lot of people are. So what? I mean.
So Rel's a pretty genuine viewer. He doesn't want to go too hot, but he thinks the night that started all were some blank in Andy. I can't even say his name. We're yelling, Ray, what's the problem? Look, he blocked me. Ha ha ha. They say Rel, in his opinion, you guys went after.
I don't care if like that is so. That's not enough to warrant the levels that Ray has taken it, and you guys are so distracted.
Well, I say.
Hold on. Like, some people are distracted me. Like, who cares what I say or do? Move on and like enjoy the content you like.
You have a little bit of a platform. That's why.
but it does. But you don't have to watch it. Ray has a bigger platform than me.
True, but it's also a matter of like. I think if somebody like me who has a very small platform tweeted something at him, he wouldn't notice or acknowledge it. But because you do, like, you have like 32,000 followers on Twitter, like you have more of a notice, you have more of acknowledgement. People look to you as I guess we can even go as far as say maybe an influencer. So people are going to latch on to your words and latch on to what you say, which is why, again, that's why I asked the question. Because, when you give your opinion, some of these people are gonna be like, yeah, I agree with you. Like, look at the chat. There's a division in the chat.
It's even bigger for Ray. Even bigger for Ray. So, but yeah, I mean, yeah. I asked a question. I wasn't hating on him until he tweeted at me that I was a racist. So let's get the timeline clear, Max. Like, that's where it started.
Well,
he retweeted a toxic guy, this Mike K guy, who is just a total toxic scum, who implied I was a racist for asking about the bar. Don't listen to him. He's a racist, is what that guy said. And then Ray retweeted it and said something like, well, I don't know, this man struggles, but we all shouldn't do. It was just like a hoity, like, why are you even engaging in this?
Yeah, I remember
there was no hate. There was no hate towards Ray. There was nothing. I lived it, guys. Ray pointed out a knock on me because he saw me asking questions about the barber.
Okay, that's let's just clear the air. Andy, are you racist?
No.
Let's clear the air. Okay, so there we go. Let's just clear the air. Are you racist?
I've moved on from that, but since we're bringing it up, I like clearing this up.
You moved on from being a racist? No, I'm joking.
No, I removed from Ray, but that's where it started, and that's where it got more intense. So that's why I paid more attention to it, because I was personally invested, and I think. I don't know. Look, I don't want to keep hounding on it all, but I'm not afraid or answering these questions. But the reality is, like, I feel like if you were to, this is me. I can't speak for everyone, I guess, but it just feels weird. If you have the truth on your side, why would you be afraid to, one, share it, and two, tell it to everybody? Like, when I came forward and was finally allowed to reveal my receipts, I was willing to go anywhere. I went to channels that hated me.
Don't you think Ray is in that same situation?
He has that clearance.
He can't. Yeah, he doesn't have the clearance.
Yeah,
maybe he doesn't have the.
What clearance are you waiting for now, dude?
Well, wait, hold on. You just said you had to wait to drop your receipts.
Well, because I was in a lawsuit. I was in a lawsuit, and my lawyer wouldn't let me, and so I settled my lawsuit, and then I could. Okay, what is Ray in a lawsuit?
We don't know. We don't know that. Maybe he's filing. We don't know.
We don't know.
Ray has crossed so many NDAs. I mean, he just gave up the Flash. Warner Media didn't say that. He literally told the world, I was going to be in the Flash. I was going to be a bigger part. Dude, that goes against an NDA. What NDA wouldn't say, don't talk about our Flash script? He doesn't give a shit about the NDAs. He uses those when he wants to. That's a fact. So this whole, he's not allowed. Then tell us that. He's dropped stuff in Forbes. Why do you guys, again, and now this is where I get frustrated. Why do you just give him the benefit of the doubt that he can't tell us? Why can't you accept, well, okay, well, maybe there is
I'm only saying that because, again, I don't know much about how the contracts and things work. I'm not an actor. I'm not in that industry. So
he's out of his contracts. He's crossed those by calling out these people. He has gone scorched earth and it's all over.
Right, but that's what I mean. I don't know if there's a process or steps that need to be taken, or if he's even talking to a lawyer, if the lawyer is telling him what he can't say.
Correct me, guys. Hasn't Ray said, well, if I'm not telling the truth, you guys can sue me for defamation?
Right, and have they sued him for defamation?
No, so why isn't he sharing more?
Right, well, why haven't they sued him?
Because he hasn't said anything specific. He's been vague. The only time he did was when Joss attacked Forbes. Notice? Again, pay attention to it all. The only time he was specific was Forbes. The author got fired, and the article got adjusted and totally cut up.
Yeah, but again, Andy, we still don't know the whole story. That's the thing. We don't know everything.
Whose fault is that?
I mean, you're right.
But maybe Ray come out with the stuff that he's allowed to come out with. Maybe there's stuff that he still can't go public with.
What is he fighting if we can't know? He's wanting to arm an army, but not give them the weapons to actually do it.
Well, why hasn't Jeff Johns and Joss Whedon? I understand the article, minus the article, and I don't give a shit about John Byrne, but why haven't those two key characters come out and done exactly what you say that Ray should do? Just say, guys, this is the timeline. This is everything that happened. They haven't done shit. They've been quiet. And why have they been quiet? Because they're lawyers, and the people that work for them told them, shut your fucking mouth. Don't say anything until this thing's over with, until we have resolution. And that's why Jim Lee put him over on Image Comics. Jeff Johns moved him over to Image Comics to work on something for him over there, because these guys aren't, they're not canceled. They're just moving away from the projects that they were attached to. Jeff Johns is no longer DC, Films president. Joss Whedon is no longer doing anything for HBO Max. He's not doing Batgirl. He's not doing anything else for the DCEU or whatever. What is that?
I do have to address something, Andy. There's a lot. I'm never going to surprise my guests. I'm just saying there is a lot.
We don't have to worry about it, Max. Enosh said he's sitting in a chair with more interesting things to do, so let him go do that. I appreciate it.
No, I'm just saying, not just Enosh.
Well, no, he just told me so. Enjoy, Enosh. I appreciate it. I don't know why he keeps trying to interject in things. Let's just have the conversation we're having, Max. He's really.
I'm just saying this, not just Enosh. I'm saying there's a large group of people that want to talk to you, maybe on your show. Change your mind. I don't know.
Of course.
I'm just saying a lot of these issues that came about within social media is the lack of civility, and just stop talking to people when you actually have a show. Change your mind. There is a lot of people that want to talk to you. It's not me, and I'm not going to surprise you. I'm just saying, I think the past is the past, okay? But going forward,
I don't want to fight every person.
Right. That's why I'm not bringing in everybody.
I'm here. Max, I came here to try the olive branch because I appreciate what you did. And look, good job for you for at least calling that out. We're not going to always agree on things. I even came on here and said, look, I'm not doxing you. I have no interest in doxing you or anybody. I would never, I want to be clear, just so if anything else comes out of this, I'm not doing that. Okay. I don't want to do that. I think that's super shady. I'm not here to say other people are doing that or to speak on that. That's not something I'm going to do. Okay. So we're clear. But that's why I came on here, because I appreciate that you're doing that. I still got issues with a lot of stuff you've done. And I'm sure you got issues with mine, but we're being here civilly respectful. And I've stayed just because I hope all I'm trying to do is look, I'm not trying to bash Ray Fisher. I'm not. I'm frustrated with Ray Fisher, and he knows what he's doing. And I refuse to let him continue to destroy Jeff Johns. They were trying to do Jeff Johns, and then no one ever did it. It's what some of those people, but they want blood, dude. And I'm just
well, there are certain people who want blood. But we're in society. We're in a society where, people live on Twitter. People live on
needs Yoda.
Yeah, exactly. No, people live on that.
That one. You want that one, Saggy Melons?
There you go.
Yes, I want it. I want that one. I'll take that. I'll settle.
So send it to our PO box, care of Saggy Melons.
It's not the same as
Sorry, Ryan. I get distracted with Yoda. I apologize. Yoda's so cute. Okay, go on.
Dawson has a genuine question here. He's a good guy.
I haven't seen Yoda distraction. I've seen nothing but Grogu.
Oh yeah, I was just on screen though. I would ask that both ways. And to me, to solve of all of this is Ray. Just stop engaging until you're ready to tell us what happened. I think what he's doing with the stretching of his facts and there's the guys here. Hey guys,
they're still actively going after Zach's vision. Still, they're still throwing shade. I've never seen a president of a move like even Kathy Kennedy. She is not going to throw shade on a new project, even if she's not 100% behind it.
I don't think Zack Snyder is way more involved than anyone wants to admit. Zack Snyder. And I think I think with everything, I think Ray is. I mean, I'm sorry. I think Zach is angry, and I don't fail him for it. I think Warner completely screwed him during a
he was angry. I don't think he's still angry.
Nah, dude, I don't know, man.
I mean,
I would still be angry if I was Zach.
He was angry.
I'm not faulting him for it, but I just
like 2019
behind the scenes, and so I think Warner knows Zach could have stopped a lot of this. Zach could go, Ray, what do you want? We got our movie. Like, who do you? Joss is allegedly gone. They're gonna phase out Jeff. Like, what do you still? What do you need next? You need them to fire Walter? Like, Zach could have solved that with Ray and say, listen, it sucks what happens, but let's keep fighting this fight so we can earn more and more and do the like. I don't see why he wouldn't have tried to cool this, because I really do think, according to Ray, shit is so bad you might as well boycott Warner Media. Like, that's what it feels like. And so it's like it's
Warner Brothers Pictures.
What? No, Warner Media. Warner Media is the one who let him go. Warner Media is the one who did the investigation.
They're the ones that he got the release from. Yeah.
But the reality is, if you really want to follow what Ray's dishing, that's what he really is sort of. It seems like he's telling you guys to do. So my problem is, like, that's taken it too far.
He hasn't said the boycott.
You got to show me facts before.
He says accountability.
He would never want us to boycott.
He hasn't even said
fire. I disagree with boycotting.
He said accountability. Other people have
taken. What is accountability? What accountability for what? I mean, how many times do we got to repeat it? Because they were abusive. Come on, being abusive is a very.
Don't downplay it though. Don't downplay it either though. Well, it is a serious problem.
But then tell us.
I think at the end of the day, what it comes down to, because I think everyone can argue about this till they're red.
Well, I mean, we're getting to the point where we're having a circular conversation,
right? But I think what it comes down to is,
you're right, Ryan.
It's understandable that people want concrete evidence before they make their decisions and what they want to do with the information they get, and Ray needs to understand and acknowledge that people want to know what happens so they can make this decision, so that they can support him.
But didn't Ray actually say that he would say it all when he can? Didn't he say that there'll be a point in time when he'll be able to release everything?
But he also can't, like I said, I don't know Ray, but I'm also from perspective outside of this box, right? I can understand both sides of the spectrum. Ray wants to come out and speak about injustice to him, fine. But, when you speak about it and you're not giving people, especially publicly, you're not giving people all the information. You cannot be upset if people are choosing to be like, well, I'm just going to wait until I hear, until I find out, or sit there and say, well, okay, now we're getting a little irritated because we want to know, because if we are supporting these people that are really bad, we don't want to support them. So just tell us what they did so we can support you. So I understand both sides of that. Yeah. I however, think that as fans, especially, they get too entitled to feel like they have to push and prod. So I understand, like, Andy's frustrations. I do feel like sometimes, like, maybe waiting and see, but like he's reporting on this, so I can't fault him for reporting on what his opinions are from what he's gathering now. So if Ray comes out and it turns out that Ray was right, like Andy said, he can just
will own it.
He's gonna have to own it. He's gonna have to at this point. But right, but
like I owned when my contacts said the Warner that the Snyder Cut wasn't happening. I mean, they were telling the truth at the time, but they were out of the loop because Warner Media was like, "Nah, we're gonna do it." But yeah, I did own it, and I will own this too.
Okay, fair enough. I don't think there's anything wrong with asking for accountability. I don't say that's calling for blood and revenge. Saying
yeah, because Ray also said that he's protecting people who can't speak up for themselves.
And so Warner Brothers has a long history of bad behavior up at the top too. The way I think they drove Ben to drink. Honestly,
well, that was a combination of Jeff Johns and John Berg giving him notes on the Batman movie, having go back, change this, modify that, and
and that's why
Gail Lever said that his script was great.
is because they're still the same Warner Brothers. Whenever there's something gets traction, they announce a bunch of things.
See, Warner Brothers has always been very reactive to
Yes.
everything, and that's their downfall, is that they don't like they released a slate and then they took it back, and then they tried to release a slate at Fandom. They're kind of taking that back too a little bit, and it's just like, what do we do? The Fandom and whatever. It's just kind of crazy, I mean, I've never been fully behind Warner Brothers and the way that they treat people. I mean, it's been the way since the Saw kinds.
Well,
since
to answer Chubby, I do not surprise guests. I do not. If he doesn't allow it, I'm not allowing. I can't. I love Enosh. He's my brother. He's one of my best friends here. But if I'm not going to surprise Andy. That this isn't just like there's a lot of people that want to talk to Andy. This isn't a line of I want to get a word into Andy Signor. No, it's not going to be like that.
Enosh has been in the comments this whole time making it about him. That's the problem. And now Jarbo's doing the same thing. So I don't want to engage with them.
That's fair. That's fair. You didn't come on for a line.
Come on for a personal beef, and you guys have move on, both of you. Like, I don't care about.
No, I'm just saying.
I got personal beef. I want that Yoda doll. I'll fight you for it.
Matt and Enoch, I don't want to fuck you. I don't want to engage with you. Move on.
Wait, why don't you want to fuck them? I mean, they're bangable guys.
Engaging with them, and they can wish all they want.
They're still my best friends on here.
But they're bangable.
Yeah.
Well, Firewater one. I don't know,
man.
Firewater.
You're giving them to me, Andy?
I don't know you, but I'm happily in a relationship, but I don't want to bang anybody. But yeah, anyway.
You're giving them to me. You're giving Enoch and Matt to me.
You totally can have them. Go for it. Totally. I don't care who goes where. I don't ban people from things. Like I choose not to engage with certain people I don't like, who I know don't like me. I think that's normal. I think we should all do that. If someone doesn't like me, I don't want to engage with them any further.
I like to talk to opposing opinions. I
don't want to do that. So it is what it is. But Max, I appreciate the conversation. I appreciate you keeping.
No, I would ask you to, not even me, to invite more opposing opinions that you might not have considered in the past, because there is a long line of people that want to talk to you.
Dude,
Dude,
the only people I block are the ones who just resort to be, oh, you're a rapist, and they won't stop. It's not about like I'm afraid. I don't want that energy anymore. And I'm trying to be kumbaya, but it's like the hate and you're wrong. You're wrong.
Hold on.
Rules on your show.
Wait, can we highlight this Dark Claw person right there? Just highlight that, because I don't know.
You have so many. Look at that, Max. You don't clean up your chat. You have many
people that aren't here.
I would ban that person, and then that person will go on another stream.
Dark Claw. Hold on, Dark Claw. I don't know Andy's. I know a little bit because people here have told me. I don't know the whole thing, but cheating on your wife doesn't make you a creep. Number one. People do it all the time. If
flirting with my fans, I'm a creep. Like,
right, but here's the thing.
Flirt with their fans.
Here's the thing. You can't call somebody a creep who cheated on their wife. Men cheat on their wives all the time. Women cheat on their husbands all the time. They're not creeps for it. It's a shitty thing to do. That's based on perspective. It's not my relationship, so I don't care. But don't be calling somebody a creep because of whatever they did. Like, that's, to me.
Oh, there's way worse in here. But anyway, I don't care. But I'm just saying.
People here
I don't like people.
I appreciate that, Saggy, but I'm just saying, like, I'm used to it now. But Max, yeah, I block a lot of these people because they literally resort to these hateful, terrible things, and I just don't want to engage with them anymore. And particularly for the 200 personalities that are just foaming at the mouth to criticize and jump on, I don't want to give them any more airtime because I'm over it.
Yeah, well, that part bothered me. That part bothered me.
Andrew, let me clear the air with Andrew. Andrew, I was told by several people that you were talking shit about me on other shows.
That wasn't the way to do it.
Whatever I never said he did. I said, this is what I'm told, Andrew. And then Andrew told me, I was over on streams. I said, look, Andrew, I got a history of people turning on me, friends who I thought were friends who turned to be snakes. I don't want to deal with that. So, Andrew, I'm sorry if I have some trust issues, but I want you to earn back my trust because you've been here.
The one thing that I had was
on here, and someone sent me the clip. People send me shit and try to stir. And Andrew, I'm sorry. After what I saw, like, you made your decision and you did what you did. I wish you the best. But watch whatever you want, support whoever you want. But you did exactly what I thought you were going to do, which was just go talk shit whenever you got the opportunity. And I don't like people like that. I don't want to. If you got shit with me, message me.
Andrew's a nice kid.
Andrew is a guy. I wish you well. So I'm addressing you. Andrew, do what you want to do, watch what you want to watch, but I'm not going to keep calling you in if you're going to talk shit behind my back.
He just loves me.
I don't subscribe to that anymore. So if that's me being the victim and whatever, call it whatever you want, I want better energy going into 2021 personally.
Well, I hope so, because what I saw when he was on there, I saw a clip of it, but it was you and these other guys, and y'all were all like berating him, trying to make him out to be trying to make an example of him. I thought that I was like, wait, that was the not the right way to handle that situation. If that's if that's how you feel,
there were others who were berating
to
me. Well, I mean, look,
come on,
I don't know logic. People are responsible for their actions, and I don't want to engage with people who don't like me.
Okay.
And I made that clear, and I tried to be as civil as I could. And whether I'm going to do it on stream, off stream, because I don't give a shit. I will. I'm not afraid. I will tell him on the topic. And I called him out, and I can't ban him for anything. I just said I'm not going to have you on my stream if you're talking shit about me elsewhere. That's going to be a rule I set up anywhere. And so that's the reality. And I've told it to it. Now he gets it, and it is what it is. But he clearly, after doing so, decided to lean in extra hard on me. And if that's his feelings, he's allowed, But I'm not going to have someone on like me.
Okay, so you just became an adult.
Look,
Andrew, I recognize you as an adult at the age of 20.
Full disclosure, I totally talked shit when Andrew was on, but I didn't know you. But I thought it was a shitty thing. So full discllosure, I will talk shit to you. I will talk shit to you if I feel the need to. So
just talk shit to my face. Tell it to my face. That's all. That's what I don't like people talking shit.
Enosh wants to tell it to your face, but you won't let Enosh on the stream. So
I have messaged Enosh. Enosh and I have talked. We've engaged. He's going to make it about him, and this is about Matt.
I don't. Unless we're going to do another topic. He's already answered the question, though. We can't keep parading Andy on whether.
I'm not afraid of anybody. I just choose not to.
He doesn't want
people. It is what it is.
Let me just remind.
I'm not going to ask him anymore.
Andy wasn't here when we talked about it. We had Enosh on here last time, but Enosh did say that his thing is he wanted to talk without it being on a stream, without it being a thing. If you and him could just have a civil discussion.
We did that. I talked to him for like a half hour this morning through DMs. It's never enough for him. He always wants to keep talking. I have shit to do, Enosh. I'm sorry you want to talk to me so bad. I got a family and I gotta get paid. Like I don't want to keep talking to you. I'm glad
I'm not going to ask you
to me, but I don't want to keep engaging with him. And he's like obsessed about it. Like, get the hint, dude, and move on. I'm sorry. I don't care.
The reason I won't and bring them on is the same reason that I have upset with what happened to Andrew. I'm not surprising people on streams in a different topic that they want to talk about.
I didn't surprise him. He asked to come on that stream, and he knew
he was. What was the topic of the video? It was about the Snyder Cut. It wasn't about you're on other streams.
He came on, and I said, I heard some stuff. Can we talk about it? He said, yeah. And then I said, have you been on those streams? And he said, no. And he lied to my face. I'm sorry, dude. Like, it is what it is.
Peer pressure on a young movie fan. I don't like it.
Well, you know what? we're different then, Max. Yeah. I call out bullshit when I see it. Okay. And I don't like people coming on.
I said, Andrew, go wherever you want to talk bad about
Andrew, if you had just gone and talked movies on here and everywhere else, you would have come back on the channel. Like you failed the test because you proved you don't want to be respectful to me. You don't like me. Those are things I pay attention to now because I've been through a life where everyone I knew turned on me, guys. You got to understand, whether that's me still dealing with my own issues, I don't give a fuck what it is. It's my choice. You know what I mean?
Well, we should end it soon. So if we want to have some final
subscribe to Zeverfed. So.
Dude, Jarbo, oh my God, Jarbo, move on. I didn't extort you. You were talk about the victim. I
think
Max, Jarbo keeps putting out this rumor that I gave out his phone number. It is a lie. I don't. You believe? Dude, I have the text from Ralph who proved it and said it was given to some other dude. I have all of the evidence.
That's an issue between you and Matt. I think that issue is between you.
Matt, move. God, I showed. I've seen this out there. Move on. I would never ever give someone's phone number out. How much I hate them. That is scum of the earth.
All right, I believe you now.
And I'm so fucking sick of people going to that level. And the only person who goes to that level is the guy who keeps accusing me of that level. Move on, dude. I didn't fucking I don't even have your number in my phone anymore. I don't want you to ever call me. Leave me alone.
Number one rule: you don't delete numbers. You just change the name so you know when they call not to answer. Just saying. Just saying.
Advice. I know. Maybe that's this random person who keeps texting me this. I didn't give any numbers away. I never will. And the doxing quote he keeps taking out of context. It's because he won't leave me alone. Just leave me alone. Get over me. We're broken up, Matt. I'm so sorry. You're not over me, but I'm over you. Sorry, Max. Anything else you want to get out of the air so I can be done with it? But look, I'm trying to be respectful. I appreciate what you did tonight. I'm sorry if you felt like.
I think we got to call it. I think we got to call it across the board in every single corner. Bad behavior. If you get where I'm going there, bad behavior needs to be. Don't be a hypocrite and go along with other. Just because they're your friends. Because some of my friends were doing this, and I called it out. And I still have an issue with what happened before, but I'm going to let it go.
I got, just so we're clear, I have no interest in doxing you or anybody.
No,
and the clip,
I think that's across the line.
The clip Matt is literally me going after. I guess it was some dummy, just like someone was in my account. I caught it tonight.
That's how I came on your stream. And
literally, people. I wouldn't put it past him to have made the dummy account, to be perfectly honest, given everything I know about him. But regardless, I don't know if that's true. But the reality is I was going off of this guy who, like, it seemed like he was just obsessively not over me. And I flippantly made a comment that was like, what do we got to do? The same thing you did to Max? And I didn't mean it that way. I just was like, dude, because the reality is you stopped. You left us alone, and it was kind of nice because I was sick of, like, the algorithm and the SEO.
That was only because
I was sort of over. I was like, Matt,
was made.
And Jody did it in a compliment, and it sort of worked for me. And I thought, wow, all right, whatever made Matt stop. I want to be clear. I was not trying to dox you or Matt. Okay. Matt can keep taking it. Oh, he tried to dox. Matt, you weren't doxed. I never have doxed you. Move on. You can keep throwing it at me as ammo as everyone. But this was about us. And notice how both Enosh and Matt tried to make it about them.
Let's leave it off on one movie topic. Let's just have some fun and then be done. Okay.
Sure.
They obviously still are not wanting the Snyderverse to come back, even though it's coming out on HBO Max. Hamada and them are not all about Snyder still.
Of course. Yeah, they don't like.
Do you think they have a plan? Do they have it together based on Wonder Woman 84? What's your what do you I mean, if they're so against Zack, they must have a really good plan. Do you think that they are doing the right things, making the right decisions? What's your professional grade on what they're doing right now in the future of DCU? Do you think it's still all over the place? Because I think it's a freaking mess, my opinion.
It's a dumpster fire.
Are you asking me or the?
Yeah, you first.
Yeah, look, I think it's a mess. I'm excited for Flash. I think Flash is an interesting way to go, but I'm still confused who's at charge. It seems like it's Hamada. But James Gunn's Suicide Squad, I think that's going to be fucking badass.
Yeah,
the Batman, I'm worried. I know the script and everything else, and it could either be great or it could be a bit of a bore. So we'll see. Yeah. As for those, like, what's the plan beyond that? I don't know. Why aren't we making a new Superman movie?
Right.
Forever. What's happening with Aquaman 2? Talk about Amber.
Their only plan is to fight against Zack Snyder's vision, but there's not another vision. That's my problem. That's why.
Well, I mean, I hope there is, like, something we just don't know. And I'm intrigued by the Michael Keaton coming back.
Yeah,
it's for multiple films, so that's interesting. We don't know what those films are, so there's clearly something behind the scenes that we don't know. But I mean, Hamada calling Zack Snyder's Snyder Cut the cul-de-sac. I mean, that was a shot. That was an absolute shot.
That was a bad behavior for a president.
The interviewer.
Yeah, but the tone of the interview, though.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's clear that he doesn't want anything that Zack had in store to go forward, because that he's still working off of Jeff Johns. Like, let's take a chunk of Marvel and fucking Marvelize the DC universe, and it should be completely different. Yeah, I'm excited for the Batman. I'll watch it. I think the Batmobile looks like shit. I've always said that. It belongs in the Fast and the Furious. Doesn't belong in the Batman movie. I think everybody's kind of waiting to see how the Zack Snyder Justice League actually does. before they, move forward with Aquaman 2, before they move forward with anything else, another Superman movie, anything like that. They're just kind of, again, Warner Brothers being reactive. They're waiting to see. They want to see, is this good? Because they're going to follow the money. If it makes a shit ton of money, they're going to be like, yeah, but we should actually, do this My Little Pony thing. Or, hey, can we revise the Frosty the Snowman movie? They're waiting. And the same thing with Suicide Squad. That one might be fun. We'll see. It looks good. Looks interesting. I'm curious about the whole, what's his name? Starro. I'm curious to how that's going to translate on screen. But yeah, I mean, everything else is kind of on hiatus. They're all quiet over there. Like, what the hell do we do? Today was a holiday. So I'm sure we're going to hear something this week about, the Ray Fisher stuff. Because they always kind of, it's always a back and forth. The PR team kind of gets together and puts something out there for the trades. And the trades are always, hyping, whatever Warner Brothers is doing. Cause you have that Access, what is it? Access Hollywood or Access Media kind of thing that Disney does to all their people all the time. So yeah, I'm curious to see how this shit's going to turn out. I'm excited for the 4-hour cut of Justice League.
Oh yeah.
I'm ready to watch it. I want to see, this kind of, be drawn out and, because Zack Snyder's even the same thing with the BVS. I'm ready to see the IMAX version, which has more footage. So, hopefully exposition.
Wait, the IMAX version has more than what's going to be on HBO Max?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, that's so stupid.
So
I think
they're gonna play out a little bit more of what was going on between Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck's characters, because I mean there's some things in there that I have issues with. So I think I'm hoping what I have issues with they're going to be settled with this because of what I've heard that's going on. But yeah, I'm excited for the IMAX version of BVS. We'll just see. I think after this, Warner Brothers, Warner Media, DC Films, AT&T are all going to know what direction to step forward in. And if they still don't, then damn it, sell DC to somebody who knows what the fuck they're doing and not Disney.
Yeah. This Star Wars is in a better position than DC. That's a good topic for Change Your Mind.
I'm watching Enosh on the stream, and he's got zero viewers. Dude, what are you doing?
Well, that was 30 minutes ago.
Hey, Andy,
dude, that's how bad he wants to talk to me.
But no, his face, he was just like,
I'm so weird, dude. Just move on. I don't want to fight with you tonight, Enosh. Just get over it.
What's hilarious?
So funny. It looks so disgusting.
What's in a better position, Star Wars or DC Universe right now? That would be a good nerd war.
Star Wars or DC Universe? Which one?
I think Star Wars is a better position now.
Yeah, well, it's just because of Mandalorian, but who knows what's going to happen with that?
Well, I mean, the problem is it all has to tie back in with the sequel trilogy at some freaking point.
No.
So eventually it's going to lead to shit. So what are we going to do?
Time travel. Didn't Rebels
time travel? Yeah.
Didn't they do it?
You've been watching too much Doomcock.
No, I don't. Trust me. I don't watch any of that. But I was going to say, was it Rebels, the second show, right? Didn't they, Ezra or somebody told me they did
there's time between time or space between space or some crap
where
he walked into some weird.
I have faith. I hope he does it. Solve the problem. Create an alternate timeline. Forget the sequel trilogy.
Oh God!
Something else we can all agree on that sequel trilogy is trash.
It was not planned out well. It looked beautiful. BB-8. I love BB-8. He's right there. I like the art. But I mean, again, it really took a lot of nostalgia and it leaned heavily on it. Like if you look at the prequels and you look at the originals, the ships are completely different. But if you look at the sequels, they take the exact same designs and just kind of make them a little bit kind of cooler. And the same thing with, the droid was actually really cool because it was innovative. But the X-Wings still look like X-Wings. The TIE Fighters still look like TIE Fighters. The Star Destroyers look like Star Destroyers. Starkiller Base is just a bigger, Death Star. I mean, it had, hell. And then The Last Jedi was just a slow speed chase. The whole damn movie was a slow speed chase. It was almost as if you were watching Spaceballs. And then Rise of Skywalker was the exact opposite, where they were trying to rush through everything and get to the end and oh yeah, and let's bring in Ian McDiarmid. And
we planned that from the beginning, sure.
Yeah, right. They didn't plan anything from the beginning.
See,
and it all started with the Force Awakens, because what's his name, JJ, who didn't want to do the project, also brought in Lawrence Kasdan. and it still got wrong. It still had, Ray was like, how did you do this? I don't know. How did you fix that? I don't know. Everything was, I don't know how I did it, but I fumbled into pushing the storyline, forward, which sucked. So yeah, I do have my problems with that. Do I like the Mandalorian? Yeah. I'm curious about the Republic. What is that? No, what is that thing that Patty's working on? The Rogue Squadron.
Oh,
I'm curious about that.
If she's writing it too,
Obi-Wan Kenobi, I'm curious about that. And the High Republic crap, I could give a shit.
What a trash that sounds like.
Yeah, I mean, there's other stuff in there that they're they're gonna really droids. I think that's just for kids, so it could be fun because I have the droids, the animated, on DVD still. Yeah, I think that'll be fun. What else? What else was coming out? Death Squad. They have the Death Squad thing. I think that's animated as well, kind of like Clone Wars, or is that going to be live action? It's with the Bad Batch, right?
Bad Batch is the one I was.
Batch, right. The one that, so I don't know if that's going to be live action or if that's
that one's cartoon. That was cartoon.
So my kids they'll love that. So because they like
my kids, and I tried it because I have an 8-year-old and a 8-year-old and an 11-year-old, and they just couldn't get it. We got an Avatar, and now we're finally watching Korra, which is not as good, but.
Oh, Korra's amazing.
It's better than
Transformers G1.
Now you guys are speaking my language.
I just got to the core episode. Spoiler alert! I got to the core episode where Iroh comes back, and I was like, yes. But that was
rewatch Thundercats.
It's not the same without the original voice actor, though.
Yeah, it was exactly totally noticeable. She's like, "Why isn't the voice?" And I had to tell her he died.
Yeah, I was quite sad. I saw
Iroh is the fucking best. Oh, what a character!
I think Korra was the worst Avatar ever. Like not the show, but as an Avatar, she was awful.
The show
I liked
she's so whiny and so hard to root for her. Yeah, it's the problem. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I loved the show, but I hated her character. And as it went on, it just got
worse. It doesn't get better. Oh, lovely.
Right. James Cameron did a great. I can't wait for the sequels.
I was watching that show like when is this bitch gonna get her shit together? Because I want to see it. Like. Yeah, she
doesn't. I'm in I guess I just started the 3rd season, so I was hoping she's seemingly maturing, but I guess that's not encouraging. But oh well, we'll see.
Well, thanks, Andy, for coming on. Anything you guys want to say before Andy leaves? I know we still have differences of opinion, strong differences of opinion. My whole problem is people stop talking to each other, and I have an issue with that personally because I think the conversation here was great.
Well, I think you have two paradigms.
I do really wish you would talk to Enosh in the future. Enosh is my boy. I know you have a big difference of opinion, and
Cody's my boy. So there you go, right?
I guess so. All right.
You know how it feels, man.
I like being the outside person in all of this because I'm the outside opinion.
Who's my boy?
I'll be your boy.
There we go. All right, Second Islands is my boy.
I could be your boy. 2021.
Great take, Ryan.
Zod Rider. Zod Rider goes hot too. He's pretty chill this episode, though.
I just want that Yoda doll, but I will settle for the little thing he showed me. I'm going to hold
you
him
to
it.
You can get those. They're both not inexpensive at Target.
I do want to say.
No, I want yours. I want yours.
I'm proud of somebody just called the hat. I'm really proud. My girl got me this hat for Christmas. Cool. But it's the Mudhorn from Mandalorian. It's for me and my kids. It's like, oh yeah, I got the signet on my hat. So I from Mandalorian, I dig that one. It's good.
I was gonna say, I don't think Andy understands. It's not that I want the toy myself. I just want his toy. I want to take his.
He wants to take it from you.
I want his. I want to steal it.
I was later on, but now she's creeping me out, Max. I don't know.
Great. She's a rising star of YouTube.
I'm not a rising star of nothing.
Yeah,
hit me up and on Twitter is always the best way to. Any of you guys, you were all respectful. If you want to hit me up. Sometimes when I bring
Ryan and Zod,
welcome, come back.
You will not talk to Matt or Enosh, but you guys
just don't block me, Andy.
But just don't talk shit about me because then I won't want to engage. If you want to say shit, message it to me directly, privately. Happily do it. I really can't stand people who, and I'm not naming names here, but I hate people who like privately talk shit about you and then immediately go publicly to talk the shit about you to sound better than you. That I don't fly with that shit.
I will say something that happened this week. It's reached a point where it's got like Andy did highlight a bad moment in the fandom where that picture, and I do think it's serious, that it's going past the bubble of Snyder Cut and Borg Life, where other DC fans that don't want a dog in this fight are getting annoyed with it. I do see it. Like even Nerdette, she's like, I watched part of Nerdette's video today. She's like, I didn't want to comment on this. I'm a Jeff Johns fan for life. I grew up reading his comics, but this is enough. I can't take it anymore. So we have to see if we want to be because being completely unbiased is impossible. It's impossible.
Sure.
But if you want to try to see outside and other perspectives, you have to see that it's now got to a point, even if you stand with Ray Fisher, that it's got to a point where it's affecting the general public of DC fans, and they're sick of all this back and forth. I don't think he's saying, completely disagree saying asking for accountability is wanting a bloodbath and revenge, though, because he hasn't said what you want to do with that accountability. He just says, I want accountability. Although he took it one step further that says, I will never work with him again, though. That is taking another step further.
Yeah, and just to clarify, yes, he hasn't said that. I'm reading between the lines because I feel like there's no end in sight. He won't accept what the investigation gives him because I think he wants to go scorched earth on all of them. Because he said at the end of Forbes, like, these people don't deserve to be creatives and inspire generations. Like, I'm going off his own intent of what he wants at the end of the day. So to me, that's just, I'm calling that blood. He didn't say it, but it feels like he wants blood. He wants to just tear these people apart. And so, that's the problem. Accountability goes both ways. And I don't know, is Ray able to sort of acknowledge maybe that he wasn't the easiest to work with either? It doesn't justify maybe what happened to him, but a lot of sets are shitty, and that's not criminal. And sometimes you just got to move on and know your boss isn't going to fire the guy who's shitty. You quit the job, you get a new job. That's how real life works. And you tell people, don't work with that guy. He's a jerk.
Yeah, but in an HR environment, when you go and you make a complaint in an HR environment, and that complaint is, it falls on deaf ears, then that is an issue. That creates an issue. But people can be jerks, but
we've also become so sensitive as a people that everyone's complaint needs to be heard, and everyone's complaints cancels people. So it goes both ways. Sometimes the HR has to defend the person who you're accounting for, and realizing, that wasn't so bad. That happened to me. There was a reason I wasn't fired right out the gate, because I shared my evidence with my employer. Now, I don't like my former employer. I'm not going to speak well of them, but they couldn't fire me because they spoke to me and read the receipts, and they knew I didn't do anything wrong. They fired me when the mob came after me and demanded they fire me because the optics were too bad. That's how it often works. So then the reality is it can go both ways, and you got to be careful, because sometimes someone's accusation isn't as bad as it sounds, but you want to believe it because he keeps telling you it is. And that's the reason I speak up against this and why I'm careful. But
I also think you can't
believe everybody.
I think you can't jump the shark and go trying to mock people coming forward either, even if they're not providing you all the details you think you deserve or they deserve because they went to court of public opinion. You have to remember one thing that you've left out. Gal Gadot did go to the HR and got it resolved, but
and he wasn't fired.
They intervened with
and he wasn't fired, and she still finished the movie.
Yeah, but they intervened when Ray tried to do the proper channels. That's what everyone misses. They did.
But hold on. You said something important there. Gal complained about Joss and the treatment on set, right? She went to the higher ups. They sorted it out.
Yeah.
Joss wasn't fired. Similar
double standard.
Ray had said it in the moment. Joss might not have been fired. They might have addressed it and mentioned it. But now, 3 years late, how do you address it all? It's complicated, is what I'm saying.
It is complicated, and there's no statute of limitations on whatever happened on the set.
Correct.
So,
and I'm not trying to mock Ray. I'm just frustrated by Ray. So
it feels that way. It feels that way.
I hear it. You know what? I hear you, and I see why some people might say that way. It's not that, but if you think that, go ahead and think that. I'm here to correct. I'm frustrated by Ray because I believe in.
It comes across as like sensationalism, just sort of like, what's the new, hey, check out what's going on here, because we're gonna lose our minds, and this is why.
Well, I mean, that's because people have told me on the other side that a lot of it is full of shit. So take that as you will, or whatever you want. It's his right to do it. Right. It's his right. You have your right to follow him, or you have your right to question him.
Certainly, because at the end of the day, you're believing someone's narrative. You've got your people that have this, a paradigm set up, and then we've got, other people on behind the scenes as well, and Ray giving another paradigm, and we're like, I subscribe to that because of this, and this. You don't subscribe to it because of this, and this.
Look, and someone someone saying there, Andy, that's so stupid. People shouldn't be harassed. Like, no shit. I'm not saying people should be harassed. Like, that's where it always goes so quick. But the reality is, like, Ray Fisher shot the movie, and apparently was cool to say, yeah, we got Joss. It's a good decision. You know, like, it's confusing to me, like, why he didn't say something then. You know what I mean? Like, that's just confusing to me. Now, I understand some victims can't speak for it, is what it is, but he's got to understand there's a lot of stuff that makes what he's trying to say questionable. He's got to respect that people might not just want to believe him. And instead, he powers his fan base to condemn people who want to question him as if, like, you guys are crazy and you're idiots. No, we're allowed to question you, and you should. And if you know you can't provide the evidence, then quit fanning the flames until you can, is where I stand. I wasn't out there. No, guys, wait, just wait. No. Like, I dropped it when I could drop it. I didn't talk about it until I could drop it. That's what happened. And I'm thankful I did it when I did it. It happened, but I don't know why he doesn't follow the same logic. When you can tell it, tell it. In the meanwhile, let the fans do what they need to do and make it happen.
Right. But you assume, you make the assumption that he started this campaign or started and said, hey, you know what? It's 2019. This thing was, released in 2017. I'm going to go ahead and do something about it. From what he was saying is that he went. Jeff John said,
we're going in the circles again, and I don't mean
right. It's still circular logic.
He said what?
The last person that
what happened
was you about that, and the only point that I'm making is that you choose to view it this way. You choose to say that Ray didn't start until 2019, that he didn't have a complaint until 2019, that he kept his mouth shut.
2020. It was 2020.
Yeah. That right. So that's all I'm saying.
Yeah. No. Look, when he first came out, I had his back. My first few videos were like, oh man, he just nuked Joss Whedon. I assumed he was going to come forward with clear evidence, and it was going to be a slam dunk, and it was over. I gave him the benefit of the doubt. I explained when I jumped off the Ray train. But look, man, dude, believe what you want to believe. I just think we shouldn't be condemning people for what they believe. That's the reality.
Sure. I mean, I can agree with that. You should not condemn people for I 100% can back that. That's what I've been saying. Like, everybody can have an opinion.
But again, but it goes both ways. It goes both ways.
What? How dare you?
What do you mean it goes both ways? No, accountability for me only.
That logic only works with Gozer.
In a fantasy world, that would be
Nobody
nice. Where people wouldn't, judge other people based on their opinions, especially in this situation. But in reality,
all I can say though here is this: when Ray Fisher is finally able to come out with all of his evidence, and he's able to spill it all, Andy, like you did, won't you have a different viewpoint then, because you'll be able to see?
He said
depends on the evidence, right? I may not agree with us. And the other thing you got to keep in mind, he has hyped this evidence up. I mean, he wants all three of these people.
Doesn't mean he doesn't have it though either.
But it doesn't mean
that's what I'm saying.
He's going to drop is going to make me think, well, these people should be forever.
One thing you can
no. I mean, and even
Ray Fisher seems very, very confident in his claims. Okay, he's not a guy that's coming off like he's taking it like it's a joke. He's not being, being funny about it. He's being very, very, he's being very, very forthright. Like, he's speaking about what he can speak about, and when he can.
I know for a fact that set. I've said it as we keep going in circles. That set, they were ripping apart Zach's movie. Him as a person. It was a toxic place in that environment. So that alone could be a lot of where it stemmed from and why Jason and Ray were upset. Yeah. So the reality is, like, okay, if that's what happened and they're like, Zach sucks and this movie sucks, and can you believe he's making this stupid movie? That doesn't warrant firing these guys. I'm sorry. That's not
no. Accountability doesn't necessarily mean, okay, what's accountability? To fire him and then also, to shelve him forever, because everybody knows in Hollywood.
Dude, that's what he wants for Joss Whedon. Come on. I will not accept them.
Well, I mean, if anybody would want it from Joss Whedon, it should be ScarJo, but also his wife. But what I'm saying is that you shelve, people get shelved all the time in Hollywood. They just like, oh man, you did X, Y, and Z. We're gonna put you on the shelf for a while until the public kind of forgets whatever happened, and then we'll bring you back. Case in point, Mel Gibson. They're probably going to do the same thing with Roseanne or whatever at some point. But I mean, they always do this crap, where they're like, man, you went too far. We're gonna have to slap you on the wrist. But hold tight. We'll bring you back at a later date. There's only
because I don't want to keep going in circles, and I know
right.
But my point is, like, there's Harvey Weinstein, who is an abusive monster, and then there's people who are jerks on set. That some people might say they were abusive monsters. There's got to be differences in the level that you do, and I need to know what happened before I'm going to go. Somebody now, if Ray drops evidence and it's like, oh shit, that he really was abusive and everything, then I'm going to be crazy. If it's just they were talking shit about Zach and they said some stupid shit, okay, yeah, that's not good. I'm going to admit that they shouldn't have done it. Just like Tom Cruise probably shouldn't have lost it the way he did on set. But I might also say, this was not worth dividing the fandom over 3 years later. Is this something you should have addressed personally, tried to do it, and just told it there? That's how the industry works. Now, again, I don't know the level of harassment or abusiveness. Again, once we know, I have to base it on what we hear. Yeah. And who knows if he ever will, to be perfectly honest. He may take it to the grave because some of the people, the reality is a lot of it, from what I'm gathering, wasn't even him. It was people who were harassed or bullied that he heard about. He said that in the Forbes article. So again, like, who are these people? How can I trust them? How do they weren't just have vendettas against Joss? I have too many questions to just completely blind.
There were a lot of people that were recorded for investigation. I don't know.
They're done the investigation, so that's telling to me.
I guess the big question I think everybody has. I mean, and I want to know. I'm asking for myself is then why rail so hard against Ray Fisher? If you think there's a chance he could be telling the truth, right.
That's a good question.
You're railing so hard against him that you
don't think Ray is railing hard against Warner Brothers right now.
Yeah, but that's a corporation.
There's your bias.
Corporation.
There's your bias. There's your bias.
Yeah, they're involved. I mean
there's your bias, dude.
The studio's involved.
I think what Zod is saying is like it's not a bias because he's directly involved in this, where we're just outside entities who really. We have opinions, but we can't really go hard on someone if we're not in direct.
Right. Is it because for you, Andy? For you, is it more with you because of the fact that Ray Fisher tweeted out something against you? Is that really what it's about more than anything else? But what I'm saying is but what you're saying is if the evidence comes out that it appears that Ray has, because he's very, very confident with this evidence. If it comes out at all,
evidence
proof, and but if he comes out with it and it turns out to be true, and it turns out to be as bad as he says it is, and it's everything, that you're going to change your tune, and you're going to admit that you were wrong to go against Ray Fisher.
Well, yeah,
but hold on. What I want to say is, if railing against Ray is reacting to the news he constantly provides us without evidence, then I guess that's what I'm doing. I mean, Ray could stop that tomorrow and not keep telling us things until he's able to. Ray is choosing to make this public. Ray is a public figure. He is a celebrity. I have every right to respond and engage with him. But for so many people to be like, well, no, you should just believe him. You should just believe him. I'm never going to just do that. I need a little bit more evidence before I watch a celebrity rally his audience to not only cancel Joss, which was what the original accusation was, but then it became Jeff, and then it became John Berg, and then it became Walter Hamada, and then Toby Emmerich. Dude, he's moved his goalposts like 10 times throughout this because he's gathered more intel as he's gone and the story's changed.
No, he
those
said
are red
that
flags to me.
He said, and others. He brought that up. He was like,
he said others from the beginning.
Right,
I don't know what to tell you. We're beating a dead horse here.
We're in circles.
We are.
Okay, let's end it.
Am I siding with corporate? I guess I'm siding with innocent until proven guilty. And
innocent until proven guilty, but for who?
For everybody.
Okay, well there you go.
All sides.
Because I mean, for me, for my paradigm, when they put out these hit pieces and stuff like that, about the Frosty the Snowman and all this other bullshit, it kind of shines bad on. Oh, hey, Batfleck is actually in the Flash. Just sort of like minimize, the goings on or whatever. It's like, why is the company doing this? Why are they trying to sway public, perception, in this manner and doing it like this? Why don't they put out the receipts? And so that's where I'm building my case from, as far as like why I've built my paradigm, my point of view. So.
I think Ray, I have no doubt it wasn't a great set for Ray, and I've said that sucks. But the reality is that's not criminal. That doesn't mean these people don't get to work again. And Ray himself said in that Forbes piece that these people shouldn't work again. That's why I take it harder on Ray, because I believe Ray is out for blood, and I believe he's fanning so many people to assume that these people are abusive. That is a term that triggers me, because what does that mean, guys? Look, Joss Whedon
abusive could mean a number of things.
Joss Whedon very well may be abusive. I've never denied it. I don't know Joss. I'm not here to. Have I defended Joss in the stream once? But the problem is now it's Joss, then it's Walter, then it's Jeff. Oh my God! Like that is scary that he can just add more people to his list, his on his Stark list, and just we say, yeah, you know what? F those people. Because that's what, anytime he adds someone to those lists, he has a bunch of fans who immediately go to boycott or try to cancel the people he mentions.
Well, you're always going to have extremists. You're always in every facet
but it's
of
not
life.
okay with me when all of you are believing him. You think all these people are
I believe him, but am I yelling boycott?
I don't know you specifically, but I know
in this broadcast, I submitted my point. So if you were listening to me, I said I don't believe in boycotting this because, like I said, Matt Reeves, Pattinson, the Muschietis, Michael Keaton, Ben Affleck, James Gunn, they don't deserve to be boycotted for something else that's going on, because
you're right.
Their livelihood.
But does Walter Hamada?
Walter Hamada, I believe, if he is implicated in obscuring justice or obscuring an internal issue, and it's found that he is guilty, I believe that he alone needs to be untethered financially from the projects, and somebody else needs to be in his place at DC Films president. So right. if he is in fact guilty, then he needs to be financially removed.
Again, guilty of what?
Guilty of obstruction of justice, of allowing a process, an HR process, or an HR issue.
For what?
For whatever claims that
Ray had. Thank you.
For the claims that Ray Fisher put
forward. For the record, I didn't say I'm not using hashtag I stay with Ray. I'm more of a person of I believe something happened, but I don't know what it was. So can we just that's my stance, is I believe something happened to Ray.
Something clearly happened.
Yeah, something clearly happened, right? Where he felt the need to do this, and the question is just what. So I'm more like I believe you, Ray, that something happened to you, but I don't know what. That's up to you to tell me what happened, so I can either be 100% on your side or whatever. But I just need to know what happened.
I think that's a very rational. And look, I said it in the beginning. I think something happened to Ray, but it's the level of what happened to Ray, and does it really warrant everyone's heads? That's the reality I'm on. And I so far, no, nothing. Until he's going to tell me evidence, I wish he would just not tell me things, because I don't think it's helpful. He's made it clear fans have the choice whether they want to support or not, but he keeps it going. He keeps reminding. He keeps announcing again, and here's this, and here's this, and this, which then prompts the studio to go da-da-da-da-da. Like, I just don't understand what I understand. Come out with it. If you can't come out with it, then do your lawsuit or whatever's keeping you, or wait till the time elapses until you can. I don't understand what we're waiting for.
So your issue with Ray is that he's come out with these allegations.
No, my problem with Ray is that he's fanning out his allegations to keep it in the news and not actually just say what it is. I have a problem with that. Either make an allegation, which he hasn't actually made any specific allegations. Let's be clear. It's very vague stuff. Make an allegation so a person can respond to said allegations so we can end this, or wait until you can. I don't understand this middle ground. He keeps stretching it out, and I don't believe there's contracts. He's absolutely effed his contracts up. No doubt. I've talked to lawyers on my show. I've talked to experts. He's absolutely crossed contracts already, and he's choosing to do that. So why are we waiting? What are we waiting on? I believe it's because he has other people who he's speaking up on behalf who don't want it out.
I do think at this point
that might be what it is.
I do think at this point, because he's already being removed from the Flash from his own words, which I feel really sad about for him and for Flash and for DC and everything. And I don't put that blame on him. Just that I'll never work with him. But at this point, I don't think there's any. I don't see the logic, unless you're actually going to sue, to not release it now, though. At this point, it's
right.
just like,
I mean, if I was Ray at this point, I would say, screw it. You have nothing left to lose. So I would just say, well, here you go. Now you have the proof because they already dropped him. Well, they already dropped him. Yeah, they already dropped him. So now would be a good time to drop it, to be like, oh, they dropped me. Guess what? Boom, here's the tea. Now they look even worse.
I'm so sick of this excuse that he can't tell us the specifics, but he can say there was abuse. Like that's bullshit.
You said though, when you spoke about your own situation, you said
because I was in a lawsuit.
You couldn't. So we don't know that if there's some things he can't say. No,
I'm not accepting that. I didn't say anything, dude. I didn't say anything when I couldn't talk. Ray's not saying anything. Ray is saying broad things that any lawyer would tell.
No, but you just said the stuff that Ray's saying is vague. Maybe that's why, because he can only say vague things.
You're giving him a lot of rope, man. I don't understand why. If you are trying to hold on to NDAs or legal cases, you wouldn't say shit. Again, the lawyer didn't let me say anything because I had flirted with my fans. I couldn't reveal that because then as I seeked my own settlement in my case, then they said, well, see, you flirted with your fans. But the reality was they were charging me with rape and other things that were way worse. Mm-hmm. And so I had to make sure I did that delicately through law and did it the proper way. So the lawyer wouldn't have let anything I say is admissible. So anything Ray says is admissible. And he's actually hurting his case by talking to Forbes and dropping little things and being vague because it's all going to blow up in his face if he were to go to a lawsuit is the problem. Unless he's ready to do it. But that's my point is like, it seems like I've talked.
But he's gone on record and saying he would take a polygraph test.
Well, polygraphs don't hold up in the court of law.
Insiders told me his whole goal was to get sued. I mean, there's a theory that he wanted them to sue him so he could take them to court. And maybe that's what he was trying to do, but it seems like Warner's not taking that bait, and that may be why he was doing it so stretching. But enough is enough in my eyes. Like he's dividing the fans. There's a lot of hate. It is what it is. If something bad happened, tell us so we can actually. Then we can really be a mob and demand justice. Frustrating. Be on his side.
I want this to be over myself. I honestly.
Yeah, everyone does. He is absolutely.
I think regular DC fans.
I mean, and it could be tied in with the release of the Zack Snyder Justice League thing. It could be that one side, whether it's Ray's or Warner Media side, doesn't want the conclusion of whatever this is to come out and have any sort of impact on the release of this thing that they put in $70 million on.
Here, my last thing. Why, guys? Ray gave Warner Media everything. Every interview they talked to them, every bit of evidence they've had. He confirmed this in his audio. They know everything. Yes. You're telling me, because I know Warner Brothers and Warner Media are pretty stupid. They just released all their movies on HBO Max instead of theatrical. So maybe they are stupid. But you're telling me the CEOs of that company and their lawyers are sitting there knowing what Ray has, and they're like, let's fire him. We don't need him. I'm not worried about anything he says. That makes no sense.
Well, it's public optics. It's court of public opinion.
Dude, if they
get rid of him,
and evidence of these people doing abusive, atrocious things, they would have settled with him. Are you nuts? Why would they risk him having some smoking gun expose them after they fired him? That would make them look 10 times worse.
Well, nobody said that they were.
Okay, my thing is that I don't see how they fired him. They just didn't sign as they just didn't.
Dude,
that's a fire. They fired him.
They chose to cut him loose. The man who's out there demanding accountability. They took all of his evidence and they basically were like, "Do you want to be in this movie or not?" And he made it very clear vocally. If Walter Mott is doing this, I'm out.
Yeah, I didn't like
all
that.
Right, see ya. Adios.
And that's also his prerogative.
Yeah, it is.
You know the bullets you have, Ray. Take your best shot. That's what the move was. So I mean, that alone to me is why I can't just be like, "Well, Ray's got that." I'm sorry, I'm just a rational person who believes the evidence, and I've been in these industries. I know this. There's no dude. My old company threw me under the bus as soon as it could because they were just worried about the optics. Like he's got the optics already against them. Like that is the worst thing they have, and they don't give a shit about the optics.
All right, well, we should end it. I have to get to work in the morning too, and I didn't mean to upset people. No, I didn't mean to upset my friends that wanted to talk to you, Andy. I'm not gonna like my good friend Matt Jarbo. He was once surprised on a live stream. Not that anything like that would happen to you. It's just I don't like surprising people, so that's the reason I didn't let. There was a list of people that said, "Let me in," not just Enoch.
I'm a very popular figure in some of these groups.
But
man,
so
whatever. They were trying to
that's
talk
the
to
reason.
me, and that's what it is.
I'm just here.
They all wanted saggy melons.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I'm
they were
just
like,
here.
"I'll give her my Yoda."
Yeah, I
Oh,
want
yeah,
Yoda.
she's the rising
I'm not
star.
the rising
so.
nothing. Get out of here.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Zod. Me and you are in the same boat. We're the old guy. No one's. We're pretty much where we're at.
I didn't even turn my cam on. I wasn't trying to be eye candy for this. Get out of here. I just wanted to Yoda dog. Get out of here.
All right, so let's end it. Thanks, Andy. Thanks
for
Ryan.
having me.
Yeah.
I look
I
forward
still
to
love-
all the haters coming on and making it all about them and bitching at me. Have fun.
That wasn't the point of. I didn't want that. You came on just to talk about that one topic, and then it.
We've been here for 2 hours. Holy crap.
2.5.
We're talking about accountability on both sides, and in the Snyder Cut, that was why you wanted to come on, just to.
Yeah, and I'm happy to drive clicks when you're actually being rational and you're good reporting. I think you did a good. You went across sort of. I think people are going to be like, "Why'd you do that? Why'd you side with Andy?" But I think we all have to agree on when there's violence out there. Come on, guys.
That hurts Zach. That's hurting Zach.
It's not good for Zach or for anybody. And thank you for at least meeting me in the middle on that. I'm glad we can at least agree on something to prove that it's not all toxic out there. And I'm glad I got to clarify some things. Believe me or not, I don't give a shit. But thanks for giving me a chance to speak tonight.
Okay, so we are going to end it. We'll maybe say a few words to Andy behind the scenes, and then he'll let him go.
Don't boycott anything.
I still might.
Boycott.
We're not advocating boycotting. Just chill.
Right. Well, listen to Saggy if you want. Everyone make up their own mind. Bye. All right.